President Harden, before we begin today's meeting, I would like to read a few announcements. Good morning. Welcome to the October 8th, 2025 Agenda Review Committee meeting. Before we start the meeting, I would like to share a few safety points and next meeting announcements. Please note that the primary exit and entrance to the boardroom is the door which you used this morning to enter this morning. If you are leaving the room, please use this door. The restrooms are outside the boardrooms to your left. During the meeting, we ask that you keep all aisles and exits clear. If you need any assistance during the meeting, please waive the attention of one of our security officers. Please mark your calendars for the upcoming meetings. A public hearing on waiver application is scheduled for Thursday, October 23rd, 2025 at 9 a.m. to 9:30 a.m. to be held just before the regular board meeting. The next board meeting is scheduled for Thursday, October 23rd, 2025 at 10:30 a.m. The public hearing and board meeting will be held at 42 West Madison Street, Garden Level Boardroom. For details on how to register to speak or observe at the meetings and to learn about the speaker lottery process, please visit the Chicago Board of Education website, cpsboe.org. If you have any questions about registration or public participation, please contact the board office for assistance. Thank you for joining us today. President Harden, we are now ready for you to begin the meeting.
Good morning, everyone. Welcome to the Chicago Board of Education Agenda Review Committee meeting. Today is October 8th, 2025. I'm President Sean B. Harden. On behalf of my fellow board members, thank you for joining us today. We're holding today's Agenda Review Committee meeting in the boardroom at the CPS Loop office, 42 West Madison Street, Garden Level. I'd like to note that the board members and senior leadership are physically present in the boardroom. Registered speakers may join us in person or virtually if they've opted to do so, and registered observers are joining us in person. The Agenda Review Committee meeting of Wednesday, October 8, 2025 is hereby called to order. Board Secretary, please call the roll.
Member Lozano?
Present.
Member Lopez?
Present.
Member Velez?
Present.
Member Boyle?
Here.
Member Wallace?
Present.
Member Custer?
Present.
Member Pope?
Here.
Member Rosenfeld?
Here.
Member Rivas?
Here.
Member Brown?
Here.
Member Rio Sierra?
Present.
Member Biggs?
Present.
Member Thodakura?
Here.
Member Blaze?
Present.
Member Zakor?
Here.
Member DeBerry?
Present.
President Harden?
Present.
We have 17 members present. We do have a quorum. I'd also like to recognize Dr. Macklin King, Interim Superintendent, Chief Executive Officer, Elizabeth Barton, Acting General Counsel, Charles Mayfield, Chief Operating Officer. Thank you.
The order of meeting will be as follows: public participation, recess, we'll reconvene from recess, go into our first closed session, reconvene from closed session, go into presentations, including special education updates, custodial operations, charter, school, and contract updates, discussion of Agenda Review Committee meetings, items 1 through 16, go into second closed session, we'll reconvene from closed session, and then finally adjourn. Let's now proceed with today's public participation session. Thank you for joining to share your comments with the board. In compliance with the Illinois Open Meetings Act, public participation, sometimes referred to as public comment, is the portion of the board meeting or hearing that grants district stakeholders the opportunity to address the board with their concerns and comments. Note that public participation is a time for the board and CPS senior leadership to listen and hear from you rather than a time for dialogue with board members during or after your remarks. While we can't discuss personnel matters, public participation is a key component of transparent governance, and it provides us as board members, as well as senior leadership, an opportunity to listen to everyone who has signed to speak. This board takes equity of voice seriously, and while we may not address your comments directly during public participation, CPS leadership is always present at our meetings and are able to address concerns as follow-ups after the meeting. As a district and as a board, we also have many other spaces for authentic dialogue. For example, each and every one of our board members host board office hours so that you can have a conversation. Please use our website, cpsboe.org if you want to meet with the board member during office hours. We encourage you to take advantage of the opportunity to meet with board members outside of a board meeting. Thank you for your attention and consideration. And as a reminder, union representatives will be allotted 5 minutes to speak before public participation, and any elected officials will be allotted 5 minutes to speak after the conclusion of public participation. Board Secretary, please share the rules for public participation.
Thank you, President Harden. Members of the public who registered to speak were given the option to attend in person or via an electronic format. For those who prefer to attend by an electronic format, they were given information to access this meeting by dialing a number and using their phone. We did this so that speakers with limited or no access to the internet or who may have weak internet connection could still participate using their phones. Also, members of the public may submit written comments for Board of Education meetings via the written comments form on the board's website at cpsboe.org or mail to 42 West Madison Street, Garden Level. Written comments received between the day the public agenda was posted through 5 p.m. the day after the Board of Education meeting will be submitted to the board and published within 5 business days on our website at cpsboe.org. Speakers, please listen while I provide directions for public participation. I will call your name and number when it is your turn to speak. For speakers joining us virtually, as a reminder, to unmute, please enter *6. Once you hear your name, please state your name for the record. I will then start the 2-minute timer. When there are 30 seconds remaining, I will inform you so that you can proceed to conclude your remarks to allow for the next speaker to begin. For anyone standing with a speaker, note that in order to comply with the city's fire code, please stand along the glass partitions on the marked spots to keep aisles clear. Thank you. President Harden, before we begin calling registered speakers from the speakers list, we do have union reps who would like to address the board. Okay. Sorry, for the record, I do want to note that Board Member Smith has joined the meeting at 10:37 a.m. Thank you. And before we'll begin with union representatives who would like to address the board. Jackson Potter, CTU Vice President, who is here in person.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Board Member Velez, welcome. Superintendent King, board members. I think you'd be happy to know that my singing to you went viral last board meeting. The right-wing authoritarian Twitter sphere went bananas. So I guess we're on the right track there. Maybe it should be a theme song. Like you, most likely, and you can tell us otherwise, I was able to make it here today without being tased, pepperballed, shot by rubber bullets, or accosted by federal agents. That is not something I can say for everyone, however. So it's with that recognition that I hope you will take extra care to listen to voices today. Many who have come after experiencing a lot of trauma over the weekend and are now braving a federal invasion and occupation to ask for your support. Their parents from another charter operator who is deciding to pull the rug from under its school community. Their educators who have had to resort to filing ISB complaints around special education violations and asking for intervention from the state to investigate these operators who have not fulfilled their part of the agreement. And because we need the funding to do both of these things properly, we are asking you today, and they're asking you to do the opposite of what the President of the United States is doing, to take care of our students and their families. While there is not much I would ever do to applaud this president or what his administration is doing, what I will say is that they are expressing boldness, and they have remade the country in a short period of time in the same amount of time that this board has been seated. So you may also move with expedited force to ensure that our families are protected and safe. You may revise traditions you've inherited that are not serving them well or correctly. Whether it's the charter operators that cheerleaded when schools were closed in the Black community and now sit on the sidelines while these charters are being shut down. We would ask you to review your policies and procedures with all due speed and fix them so this stops happening. Parents are currently being bold in dropping their children off. Young people are being bold despite the troops that threaten their families and classrooms. We see union members being bold, coming out in the streets, doing walking school buses, working with the district to provide training and support from Broadview to Bronzeville to Brighton Park. It's going to take all of us together, not just to withstand the occupation, but to reconstruct, rebuild what's been broken, to demonstrate that we can do better and differently, and build something transformational, not just more of the same that leaves parents and families, in the lurch. We have yet to hear from CPS about what plan there is to implement the Green Schools resolution that this body passed back in June. So many parents, students, community members have come to advocate for those resources to be applied appropriately. Time is ticking on federal funds. Trump lost no time in canceling past December solar subsidies for schools and residential. You can go out and get that money, but it requires a political will, working with the COO and making sure that you apply for all the grants before they expire. We have not seen evidence of that. Similarly, we are doing a full court press in Springfield. We are starting to see signs that the legislature is listening. It means we need to press the gas and go together. October 29th, we are sending at least 5 buses, and we will be doing it with transit partners and coalition, parents and families. We're doing it with other school districts and union locals across the state. So it's only rational for this district to send out an email like one would do. It would be better than anything prior, that all deliberate speed, that kind of focus in execution for our families, that clarity of purpose. We get to do our version of that. So welcome that solidarity. Thank you for the time today.
Thank you for your comments. The next union rep is, I'm sorry, I lost my place. The next union rep is Carolyn Rutherford, CTU Charter Division Vice Chair, who is here in person.
Good morning, members of the board and CEO King. My name is Caroline Rutherford, and I am the Vice Chair of CTU's Charter Division and a teacher at Acero Marquez Charter School. I have been a charter teacher for the last 15 years, and in those years, I've learned about charter budgets. I've talked to staff at charter schools. I've built relationships with the administration of charter schools and networks. And I gotta say, the current charter school closings and the cuts that we are seeing were predictable, and we warned you all that this was coming. We asked for CPS to provide more oversight and support. We told you the charter model was not sustainable. Nobody listened, just told us this is how things work. And now thousands of our students have been forced into fighting for their schools instead of learning, growing, and thriving in them. Public schools exist to serve the public. Decisions about the future of schools cannot be made in isolation from families, staff, and communities they impact. But that's what the corporate board of directors at charter schools have been allowed to do. We had to fight hard to be a part of the conversation when Acero attempted to close 7 schools, and now they are facing the same issue at Epic and Chi-Arts. Charter board of directors choosing to close schools without talking to their communities and with no accountability. Those are CPS students. CPS welcomed charter operators into the district, issued and renewed their charters, and now CPS has to take responsibility to support these school communities. We spent all last year fighting to keep our Acero schools open, and you all heard our cries. We were able to keep 5 of the 7 schools open and transition them to CPS at the end of this year. The resolution passed in February states, maximize the retention of students and staff. CTU is close to reaching an agreement with CPS on how to maximize retention, but your chief talent officer is not willing to commit any positions at these schools to their current staff. Our members will be laid off from Acero for the next school year in a couple of weeks. And staff at the 5 will have to decide, do I bump another colleague and go to a different Acero school? Or do I wait and hope that I have a job and stay with my students at my school? How can we ask people to take that kind of risk? What efforts has CPS made to recruit the qualified teachers and staff to stay? Epic Academy students entered the school year excited to dive back into their high school experience, only to find out just a few weeks later their school would close at the end of the year. The juniors will have invested 3 years in this school, only to be told, sorry, you can't graduate here. Actually, it's worse than that. If this board doesn't act, even the seniors might not graduate at Epic this year. CPS renewed Epic's charter, giving them the privilege of running a CPS school just months before they announced their closure. Epic spent millions of dollars that could have gone into the classrooms to buy a brand new building, a building that will never be used. How is this allowed to happen? Are you prepared to keep these students from paying the price? Will the school community be offered a chance to stay together, offered a space at a top-tier district school like South Shore? Aspira Charter Network also informed us that they'll be doing significant layoffs across their schools. Their alternative school, Pantoja, will lose its credit recovery educator. How can they run an alternative school without credit recovery? Aspira was also renewed last spring. Did they communicate to CPS or this board that they were facing financial instability? The Shire's board made the decision to not renew their contract with CPS behind closed doors. The Shire's school community, which is the students, families, educators, and artists that make up the school, were only informed after the decision was made. Just like at Epic, a corporate board of directors may be able to walk away from running a school. Shire Arts has been a remarkable school, and we hope that the board will take quick action to save it and stabilize it. We hope that you will welcome the teachers, staff, artists, scholars, and parents into the process
You have 30
of
seconds. remaining.
imagining a future as a district-managed school. Parents called yesterday for ISB to investigate this rash of charter school closings and the flaws in CPS's renewal process that it continue to allow it. Charter operators should be investigated, and we, alongside parents, hope you will choose to act, to be proactive, to listen to us about the continuing instability and be partners in not just saving these school communities today, but planning for the long term. With our government attacking our city, schools must be safe spaces for our students that are stable. Thank you.
Thank you for your comments. The next union rep is Kia Banks, CPAA president.
Good morning. These are some of the quotes came directly from some of the principals and assistant principals we represent. I cry almost daily trying to wrap my head around what the actual is going on. What can I really do right now to keep my babies safe and their families from feeling as though they're going to be kidnapped? My anxiety is through the roof. I personally do not feel safe either. ICE concerns are currently taking about 50% or more of most of my days. Preparing to be a principal doesn't teach you how to approach men in sunglasses, unmarked vans who are lurking around your dismissals or your entries like they're hunters stalking their prey. There needs to be a strong pause on some of these requirements. It's simply not sustainable. Many of our school leaders are facing immense firsthand and secondary trauma by what's going on around their schools. Let me be clear, we've been a part of weekly briefings and meetings over the past few weeks, putting together detailed plans and protocols for how to address ICE or law enforcement issues once people come on school property or if they attempt to enter our buildings. What we're not prepared for is what happens when masked men and guns are across the street. People are jumping out of vans, grabbing people, or jumping off helicopters on the roof. What we need right now is more assistance with protecting the areas around our schools. We need that radical unity right now to ensure that when our students leave school property, that they are walking home safely, that they have transportation, that they may have additional food to go home where families are afraid to go to the grocery stores, where people are afraid to go to work. People are scared. It's like trying to respond to a moving target. This craziness didn't come from CPS, it didn't come from our mayor, it didn't come from our CEO or this board, but the solutions and how we are struggling to, or how we will work together comes from everyone in this room. There are a few very specific asks that we're making today. One, we need city coordination to expand the safe school zones. We need to include sidewalks, bus stops, and bus routes. We need the ability to deploy emergency support teams, real-time mental health, food, legal, translation services to assist parents that are desperate for answers, and answers that we cannot provide. We are very well prepared to handle what happens in our schools. We have protocols that have been established collaboratively between CTU, SEIU, CPS, and CPAA. We evaluate these protocols weekly to see how we can improve or enhance them. But it's what's happening beyond our walls that are going to take a coordinated effort. It's going to take a radical unity. It's going to take an urgent response. We need coordinated, trusted community protection. Unfamiliar faces are not what our children need to see right now. They need to see the people who they interact with most. They need to see those of you that they see on television and making statements outside, familiar faces. We want to protect our staff. School leaders are under immense pressure. We need them to be supported. They need the staff and the resources available to them immediately. We need to work on and fix our attendance metrics. It is tone deaf right now to ask about enrollment and attendance when parents
You
are
have 30
afraid
seconds remaining.
to take their children to school, when they see vans parked and they drive past so that they can make sure their families are safe. We need to convene a strategy session that is beyond CPS and our labor partners. We need each of you. We need our mayor, who I want to thank for the executive order to ensure that this activity doesn't happen on city property. But we need more. We need you to come to the table. We need you to bring your resources, bring your connections, bring your political ties, and have them address the people who are being impacted, being hunted. This is so familiar. This is not new. Our country continues to choose cruelty over care. They continue to manufacture crises that are recycled over generation and generation. And it is time
Please
that we
conclude your
set
remarks.
aside all of our differences and support our brothers and sisters to ensure that we are mitigating the trauma that they're feeling today and for years to come. Thank you.
Thank you for your comments. The next union rep is Tremaine Reeves, SEIU Local 73, Director of the CPS Division.
Good morning, President Harden, board members, and Dr. King. This past week has been very stressful for the residents of the city of Chicago due to the ICE raids and the assertion of the National Guard, primarily in the Black and brown communities. But what we want to do as SEIU Local 73 is uplift the school safety protocols that have been implemented by safety and security of keeping our buildings safe, keeping the students and staff safe during those times, at least on CPS property. And with that, it was implemented by safety and security, but it's executed by our members, the climate team and the flex team, who you see in the room and in the hallway, central office security, and school-based security. We also want to uplift the weekly meetings with CPS and labor partners as they have been fruitful, but there are some blind spots that needs to be addressed right away, such as creating additional safety protocols for bus aides and SECAs as they transition students from the bus to the schools and vice versa. The key to this success has been consistent communication and collaboration with labor partners during these trying times. Now, to switch gears a little bit, do have to talk about the cleanliness of the schools. And presently, there are changes. There are challenges due to the change of the transition of the former private custodians coming board custodians. And I believe they're trying to work some bugs out, but the major concerns, or the immediate concerns, I should say, is still unaddressed is the worker deficit of 500 custodians, not including the 200 that were laid off during the summer of 2024. There must be a plan to restore this workforce in order to ensure that all buildings in the district are clean for students and the staff, especially with cold and flu season coming upon us. The current workforce of 1,950 custodians should not be threatened with discipline or low evaluation ratings due to their failure to not be able to clean at the same level that 2,600 custodians were previously providing. So hopefully there is a plan to restore that workforce. There is a plan to ensure that the work gets done as best as possible, but also understanding that 1950 cannot execute at the same level that 2,600 has. So we will be speaking out against any type of retaliatory discipline and or low evaluation ratings as a result of members not being able to do more with less. So thank you for that consideration, and we look forward to an actual plan to get this done sooner rather than later. Thank you.
Thank you for your comments. President Harden, we are now ready to call speakers from the speakers list, but before we do so, I do want to note for the record that Board Member Gutierrez joined the meeting at 10:48 a.m. The next 13 speakers are from Chicago High School for the Arts, starting with Sean Looney, speaker number 2, who is joining us virtually. Please enter *6 to unmute.
Sean Looney.
Thank you. Please proceed.
Ladies and gentlemen of the Chicago Board of Education, I appreciate you providing me with the opportunity to speak today to advocate on behalf of my daughter's school, Chi Arts. Very specifically, what I'm asking this board to do today is to add a discussion of the future of Chi Arts as part of CPS to the board's agenda for the October 23rd board meeting. 3 reasons why I believe the future of Chi Arts warrants discussion at your meeting. First, our country and our world need the arts more than ever right now. Education in the arts is not a luxury, but an imperative. I think from what you've heard from the other speakers this morning about what's going on outside of this room today speaks to that same point. And I just speak that an education in the arts is extremely important with what's going on in our world today. Second, Chicago is a city steeped in the arts. The Art Institute, the Bean, Second City, Steppenwolf, these things are synonymous with Chicago as Wrigley Field and with what I still call the Sears Tower. The young people that go to Chi Arts are going to become the people that put art on the walls, that stand on the stages to make you laugh, and put their own bean in a city park somewhere else. They're going to do that because the unique opportunity that they have as students at Chi Arts to participate in conservatories, with working artists as instructors. It is crucial to keep a school like Shy Arts and its fine arts conservatory model intact. Finally, Shy Arts is one of the few schools that makes an education in the arts available to students across all
You have 30
neighborhoods
seconds
and
remaining.
socioeconomic strata. My family and I moved here from Texas so that my daughter could attend Shy Arts. My wife and I had the privilege with our careers to make a choice to move here because we believed that was in our daughter's best interest. When I ask you to put Shy Arts on the board's agenda, I don't ask you to do it for my family. I ask you to do it for all the families at Shy Arts that don't have our resources, that can't move their families to a new neighborhood or a city to handpick a school for their child. Because what I've learned about Shy Arts since the news broke last week is that for many families, Shy Arts is not just a fine arts school, it's a sanctuary. It's the only place they found where their kids can feel safe, accepted, and loved. It's the only school they know where their kids can be themselves. And because of that safety, that acceptance, that love, Shy Arts becomes the place where their child not only learns, but finds belonging, finds purpose, and finds confidence. So for our
Please
country,
conclude
for
your
our
remarks.
city, and for these young, talented artists of the present and the future, please show your commitment to adopting Shy Arts as a CPS school by putting them on the agenda for your board meeting. Thank you.
Thank you for your comments. The next speaker is Emily Page, speaker number 3.
Thank you for having me. Thank you for listening to us.
Can you please speak into the microphone?
I
Thank
am
you.
a parent. My name is Emily Page. I worked in the film industry, and I also taught young filmmakers for over 30 years at Columbia College and also at DePaul. My life has been about art and education. I am currently the director of a pre-K through 8th grade private school, and it is a school where my daughter once attended. I chose education for my daughter through 8th grade, but in high school it was her choice. Her focus on the arts led her to a shadow day at Shy Arts, and that same day she found her future home. She could have remained private, and she saw the value and convinced us that there was value in the art education from working with professionals, of being with students from all 50 wards who were driven artists, but didn't all have the same access to training or education that she'd had. At Shy Arts, her world has opened up, truly. Students at Shy Arts work hard from 8 a.m. till 5 p.m. daily, and many work even later for exhibits or rehearsals for performances. Their young lives are spent with dedicated teachers and mentors and friends from all over
You have
Chicago,
30 seconds remaining.
from different economic backgrounds and diverse ethnicities, and they accept each other as fellow scholar artists. My child is now a junior. She loves school. She's an A student taking AP and honors classes, and she spends our 80-minute commute daily telling me all about what she's learned and what she's excited about and what inspires her as a young artist. She found her voice at Shy Arts and has become the best version of herself. I want young artists to have this opportunity for 2,220 pre-professional hours of training that does not cost them money, regardless of what their parents are able to afford to pay.
Please conclude your remarks.
I humbly ask CPS to take over management of Shy Arts and to maintain the conservatories. There is no school like Shy Arts. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you for your comments. Our next speaker is Lupe Leon, speaker number 5.
Hello, board members and community members. My name is Guadalupe Leon, and I have been a Spanish teacher for 13 years. The most recent 7 have been here at the Chicago High School for the Arts, Shy Arts, where I am the current department chair. I have served hundreds of students and coached many teachers, one of which is on your board. I know what it takes to run a school, and I know firsthand that operators like Shy Arts Board need to be held accountable. Last week, when our school's executive director and school board unilaterally announced that they would not seek renewal and did so without the community's input, it didn't surprise me. That's because the school is only the special place that it is because of our students and our staff. Despite our inexperienced school leaders that continue to cause instability for our students, we as a staff create a safe haven in our city. We are likely the queerest school in the district with a diverse student body, 43% Hispanic and 37% African American, set in the middle of Humboldt Park. There is no doubt in my mind that if CPS does not do the right thing and absorb Shy Arts, we will not only lose a community, but a home. Please do not waste all of the hard work that our school community puts in 24/7 to help our school afloat despite our school leaders. This year, for the third year in a row, I helped repair scheduling
You have 30
crises
seconds remaining.
caused by a lack of oversight from our executive director. I have trained substitutes in our department to help various vacancies caused by unnecessary layoffs. I've been used as a translator for various school functions. Why do I do all of this? Because I am Shy Arts. We, the teachers and families, are Shy Arts. We will not let the Shy Arts Board and Executive Director lead us through our next action steps. Us, the actual Shy Arts community, is here to step in and demand change instead. I'm asking you, the board, to please help us absorb our school into CPS.
Please
We
conclude your
cannot
remarks.
lose this school because it represents too much for our city. We fight and will always continue to fight no matter what. Sí se puede. Yes, we can. Thank you.
Thank you for your comments. Our next speaker is Ayana Ramos, speaker number 6.
Hello, thank you for allowing me to speak today, Board of Education. My name is Ayana Ramos, and I am currently a junior creative writer at the Chicago High School for the Arts. Shy Arts has been a sanctuary for students since 2009, providing academic and artistic opportunities for students alike. In Chicago currently, there are only 2 devoted art schools within its area, Shy Arts and the Chicago Academy for the Arts. While the Academy for the Arts offers similar programs, Shy Arts offers programs with no intense costs or tuitions. The most we've ever asked for is for students to attend fundraisers and even perform in them. Shy Arts has weaved opportunities upon opportunities for over 1,600 students within their time of opening up until now. Ruining an opportunity for 550 or 570 students would not only hurt them, but ruin their chances for greatness. In a recent ABC's news report regarding our unrenewed contract, a student named Damaria Ramos, a freshman at Shy Arts, spoken up stating, "Normally when you have acting classes, you don't have to pay thousands of dollars." She adds on, "I don't know about y'all, but I don't have thousands of dollars to pay for acting and singing classes. That's why I came here." These past 2 weeks have been terrifying for Shy Arts students and parents. Where will we go if our school shuts down? Coming to Shy Arts has been a dream for me since I was young, and just to have others lose the opportunity hurts more than anything else could. Just like any high school, this new year starts with new freshmen, new sophomores, juniors, and seniors who put their work into their portfolios, auditions, being given the golden ticket,
You
just
have
for
30
it to be
seconds remaining.
just for it to be turned ashes into their hands. It isn't fair. What happens if this only chance for those freshmen to get their word out, their art, their music, acting, dancing? What happens if the curtain closes and yet the students can't bow? It's unbelievable. I believe that Shy Arts should be able to thrive no matter what, whether we need to increase on fundraising, on performances, on the need to get the word out, to be seen. Students have stated they are willing to stand up for Shy Arts. Tears have been shed, words have been said, and yet students like us refuse to give up. Art lessons for teenagers should not cost thousands. They shouldn't be a privilege or a chance. They should be an opportunity. Thank you for allowing me to speak today.
Thank you for your comments. The next speaker is Casey Weldon, speaker number 8.
Good morning. I'm Casey Weldon, a visual arts instructor at Shy Arts. I'm a professional artist with a BFA from the School of the Art Institute of Chicago and a master's degree in drawing. I am here today all because of a publicly funded admission by audition arts high school. In 2006, I received my acceptance letter to attend the Alabama School of Fine Arts. My experience as a student there changed my self-confidence, work ethic, worldview, and built the foundation for my life as an educated artist, active citizen, and deeply empathetic arts educator. The arts education I received at such a formative age saved my life. I'm here to plead for the survival of the Chicago High School for the Arts. Please do not punish our current and future students for our leadership's corruption, greed, and negligence. Chi Arts' financial problems could have been solved by making cuts from the top years ago. Instead, our leaders are jumping ship, and the private foundation founded to fundraise for our arts programming is taking the money and running, leaving our future to be determined by you. The world is a rapidly declining state of turmoil. LGBTQIA teens are more than 4 times as likely to die by suicide than their peers. Students of color drop out of high school at significantly higher rates than white students. At Chi Arts, we practice anti-racism, we respect pronouns, and provide free counseling to all students because we know what's at stake. Now more than ever, creativity must be valued and our diversity should be celebrated. Chi Arts does this in our curriculum by teaching
You have 30
culturally
seconds
relevant
remaining.
art history while focusing on teaching the technical skill sets of visual arts making. It is unlike any other school. There is no doubt that Chi Arts raises skilled and informed artists, but y'all know it's even deeper than that. Art education changes lives and artists change the world. Your decision on the fate of Chi Arts will make a lasting impact on the creative youth of every neighborhood in the city of Chicago, for better or worse. Save Chi Arts because Chi Arts saves kids. Thank you.
Thank you for your comments. The next speaker is Nuria Johnson, speaker number 9.
Good morning, CPS Board. I am Nariah Johnson, a junior vocalist at Chicago High School for the Arts, aka Chi Arts. I want to speak on how much my school means to me and why this fight matters so much to me. I've known from a young age that I was born to be a singer and that I want to use my gift for a lifelong job. Chi Arts has made that dream come alive. When networking within school and meeting people who share the same interests as me, which I've never had before Chi Arts. Chi Arts is so much more than you think. It promotes inclusion. It raises hardworking teenagers with a school day from 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. And it helps you grow better in your gift, like how I've grown to be a better vocalist. Not only do we connect with each other, we make connections with our educators as they become important people in your life. We need them. We need you. Also, it's free. Art schools like this is extremely hard to come by, especially because Chi Arts is a one-of-a-kind in the city of Chicago. Instead of an expensive art program, we need Chi Arts. If CPS doesn't absorb our school and continue our conservatory-style model, we lose a community that teachers, students, and their creativity is important. Our executive operator and their poor decisions have impacted me and my dream and will impact others in their dreams. And we as students need CPS and the State Board of Education to take action. Thank you.
Thank you for your comments. Our next speaker is John Terry, speaker number 10.
Good morning, board members. Thank you for listening to us today. I just want to tell you a story about why we came to Chi Arts. I'm John Terry, a sophomore dad, and the 3 of us silly willies left the very quiet, melancholy suburbs to come to a very interesting opportunity here in this beautiful Boricua. We came to attend a very progressive concept of a collegiate-style high school for art-focused teenagers. My straight-A daughter researched this school and felt very passionately that this would be in her best interest, and although, if accepted, we would be required that we have to sell our very lovely home in our very quiet, safe little town and sell about everything that we own so we could fit into a tiny condo to be next to this school. Night after, but here's what I thought about it. Years of night classes and vocal classes, acting classes, improv classes, here, over there, everywhere. And then to find out it was all in one place. This one facility. This one place is like an oasis for artists. This very cool school is not just these young missionful teachers, but it's an environment of professionals, professional artists teaching and training and coaching the next generation with the same passion as the Padawan. Never seen that before. We not only hoped for something like this school, but we found it on another level, and we experienced the results of motivated teenagers. We've met teachers, we've met faculty and directors and instructors, and we are truly grateful to have this one facility with all these people in it. We came to Shy Arts for a rare and special opportunity to explore and accelerate my daughter's passion for the arts. So we're just one of the many stories that are here and happy to be here and thriving to be here. Thank you.
Thank you for your comments. Before I call for the next speaker, I do want to note for the record that Board Member Bannon joined the meeting at 11:16 a.m. The next speaker is Tracy Franklin, speaker number 11.
Good morning. My name is Tracy Franklin. I am a daughter of Chicago, a proud product of CPS, professional artist, and for over 11 years, a teaching artist and department head at the Chicago High School for the Arts. This city shaped me, and through Shy Arts, I've had the honor of helping shape the next generation of artists. Shy Arts is unlike any other high school in this city, a place where rigorous academic and conservatory level arts training come together to shape not only artists, but whole individuals. Here, students don't just earn diplomas, they discover their voices, their confidence, and their futures. Through the arts, I too found my voice. Thank you, Miss Mack. Transforming my lived experiences into creative expression that challenges norms, heals traumas, and celebrates resilience and identity. As CPS fully absorbed Shy Arts, we stand at a pivotal crossroads, one that offers the potential to strengthen our school, but only if CPS remains committed to preserving what makes Shy Arts extraordinary: our conservatory model, our teaching artists, and our unique mission. At Shy Arts, the arts are not simply enrichment. They are a daily practice woven into the very being of our scholar artists, a practice of freedom, creativity, and self-discovery. Shy Arts is a cultural treasure for Chicago, a living testament to the transformative power of art and education. To
You have
absorb
30
this school
seconds
must
remaining.
mean to protect its spirit, celebrate its legacy, invest in its future, ensuring it continues to nurture and empower a generation of young artists across the city. Thank you.
Thank you for your comments. The next speaker is Sky Butt, speaker number 12.
Okay. Hi, I'm Sky Pahut. I'm a junior musical theater major at Shy Arts. For me, Shy Arts was always my top pick. I didn't want to go anywhere else. From the moment I walked into the school, I was blown away by the talent and drive. When you walk through the first floor during the conservatory time, you can hear music from playing all around due to the vocalists and the instrumentalists. It's truly inspiring. Every single student comes to school and works nonstop till 5. We all have a drive and passion for our school and what we can accomplish. This school prepares you to be the future actors, artists, and musicians of this generation because we are being taught by these very people. And every day I look forward to seeing my arts teachers, who I know will be there for me and will teach me something new. As a young trans girl, I've never felt more accepted than at a place like Shy Arts. In so many places of the city where arts programs are being cut due to funding, this is a place where teens from all 50 wards get to come together and make art and learn. We have such a privilege to have a public, accessible, and inclusive institution dedicated to the arts and making people's dreams come true. We feel that our administration and board has failed us with lack of support, oversight, and honesty about our future. On the day after we learned about this possible shutdown, the whole school community of
You have
parents,
30 seconds
teachers,
remaining.
and students surrounded the school to show support and provide protection in the face of ICE. In that same vein, We are looking to you to help us have our backs as well and save this unique school by absorbing it. Thank you.
Thank you for your comments. The next speaker is Megan Riley, speaker number 15.
Good morning. My name is Megan. I am a math teacher and department chair at the Chicago High School for the Arts. Last Thursday, staff, families, and students learned that our school board and executive director, Tina Boyer-Brown, had made the unilateral decision not to apply for contract renewal with Chicago Public Schools. This was devastating news. It is not what we would have wanted for our school. The future of our school now rests entirely with you. I ask of you 3 actions. First, absorb Chi Arts into CPS management and maintain our unique conservatory programming. This model is how we shape CPS students into professional working artists. Our school is unlike any other in the state, and we are an obvious asset to CPS. Second, do not let the Chi Arts board members and executive director who ran our school into the ground abandon us without consequences. It's not right, and you have the power to hold them accountable. After all, they made agreements with you to operate this school. Their failure is an insult to you as much as it is to us. Finally, as a board, it is time for you to reform the renewal and accountability processes for contract operators. You need to ensure the way you measure the success and validity of these operators is robust enough.
You have 30 seconds remaining.
We are not the first school to be abandoned by their operators, and we won't be the last unless you reform the charter and contract assessment procedure. You have been granted an incredible privilege to make a positive impact in a time when our children are so vulnerable. You can do the right thing where other adults have done wrong. Again, please vote to absorb Chi Arts and maintain its conservatory program in full. Hold the Chi Arts Board accountable as well as the executive director for their failures, and reform CPS's renewal and accountability process so this can't happen again. Thank you.
Thank you for your comments. The next speaker is Joseph Clare, speaker number 21.
Good morning. My name is Joseph Clare. I am a lifelong Chicagoan, a resident of Subdistrict 4B, and a parent of a current sophomore at Chicago High School for the Arts. There are 2 things you need to know about my scholar artist, my beautiful sophomore at Chi Arts. First, he is a great artist. And it's not just me saying it, it's national and local arts organizations honoring the art my son produces. They know about his art because the working artists at the conservatory system at Chi Arts go beyond just providing excellent arts education. They prepare our scholar artists to contribute to our society by putting their work out there. These students learn that art is important, that it makes lives worth living, and through this, our beautiful scholar artists learn that they are important. The second thing you should know about him is that my son is trans. If my son must go to another CPS school, I have no doubt he will survive. He is tough, he's driven. Make no mistake about it, if he stays at Chi Arts, he will thrive and succeed beyond his wildest expectations. In all frankness, that will not happen at another CPS school today. He will be safe, but he will not be appreciated and loved for everything that he is, and every student deserves to be loved for exactly who they are. As you weigh this decision about how to allocate the district's limited resources, I ask you hold on to 2 thoughts. First, my father, as a CPS principal, believed that you can only educate everyone if you're willing to educate each person individually. The conservatory model educates students in a way that is not available to other CPS schools, and the district needs this opportunity. Second, this is not a binary decision for CPS to manage the school directly in perpetuity or end the arts education program for good. We would love for CPS to permanently absorb and enshrine the conservatory model at Chi Arts, but we can also transition to a different, more inclusive managing entity to lead the contract school where the current board has failed. We just need the time. Please give us that time. Commit to keeping Shy Arts open until a permanent solution can be found. Give the current students, the Chicago arts community, and specifically my beautiful trans scholar artist, the chance to prove to you all how absolutely necessary this school is. My grandfather was a CPS building operator, so my dad could be a CPS principal, and I can be an engineer so that my son could be an artist. He's a great one, and I humbly ask that you meet with us, challenge us,
Please conclude
expect
your
more from
remarks.
us. We will do the work. We just need the one thing that only you can give us, the time to get it done. Thank you.
Thank you for your comments. The next speaker is Isabel Cabrera, speaker number 25.
Morning, member of our board and attendance. My name is Isabel Cabrera. I am a parent from a freshman student in Chai Arts. My daughter has a neurological disorder that was discovered last year. She's under a 504 plan. Her love for art and her school help her to heal and go through it. Chai Arts focus on her mental health, practicing meditation and recognition of her feelings. Our journey in Chai Arts started this school year, and in the past 2 months, I've been experiencing grateful moments full of joy. I've seen my daughter finding her, I'm sorry. I've seen my daughter finding her true self, looking for her identity, and feeling comfortable in her own skin. My daughter showed a love for art at an early age. She believes that by expressing and understanding people's emotions, we can make a change in our world. She sees art as a form of a healing and contribution to our society. My daughter feels that she belongs in the school. She feels safe to be herself. She's able to show her creativity without judgment. She enjoys studying because she trusts her teachers. The interaction with her teachers are more collaborative than demanding. She feels the support her teachers provide, which makes a more harmonious environment. I am happy
have
to
30
pick
seconds
up my
remaining.
daughter from school with a big smile on her face, talking to me about her day in school. I love to hear her singing when she's at home, dancing or acting. The joy child arts provide to us as family is very contagious. It has, it has brought more harmony to our home. I strongly believe in the collaboration between school, and community to help us introduce good individuals to our society. I ask you members of our board to keep supporting our school, child arts, and our families. Thank you.
Thank you for your comments. The last registered speaker for the Shy Arts Group is Araceli Madrigal, speaker number 30.
First of all, I want to thank you for allowing parents to speak today, for giving us the opportunity to share what Shy Arts means to us. My name is Araceli Madrigal. I'm the proud parent of a 15-year-old in the Music Conservatory at Shy Arts. I'm here today to beg, to implore that Shy Arts be saved and maintained in all of its uniqueness. There is no other place like it in Chicago, no place that takes children from all zip codes, all walks of life, and weaves art into the fabric of their day. What happens inside Shy Arts is something magical, therapeutic, really. The students are able to express who they truly are in a safe, supportive environment. They don't have to hide, pretend, or shrink themselves. At Shy Arts, they are celebrated for being authentic. Bullying feels non-existent. The energy is positive, driven, alive. It's a school where kids don't want to cut class. They want to show up and create. It gives teens a liberal arts college experience while they're still in high school, preparing them not just academically, but emotionally and artistically for the real world. I can say without exaggeration that this school saves lives. Before Shy Arts, my child attended a school
where her preferred names and pronouns were not honored. I was able to go to court and legally change her name because every child deserves to be seen for who they are. When I arrived at Shy Arts, there were no questions and no explanations about her name
You have
needed.
30 seconds
She
remaining.
was simply who she was, the only name on her ID, the only name that mattered. Shy Arts doesn't just teach art, it teaches acceptance, confidence, and courage. It gives students the tools to express the beauty and truth inside of them, especially at a time when so many young people feel uneasy, disconnected, or unseen. My child has found her tribe. She even went on a date last week. And I know that that sounds so small, but for a teenager learning to love and trust the world again, this means everything. Please save Shy Arts. Save this sanctuary for creativity, diversity, and hope. Help this school continue producing extraordinary young artists like Raven, an alum who just performed at Lollapalooza this past summer.
Please conclude your remarks.
Shy Arts changes lives. It's changed my daughter's life, and it deserves to keep changing many more. Thank you for listening. I believe that you all have the power to ensure Shy Arts continues to inspire and uplift generations of young artists. Please make the decision that honors their potential and keeps this incredible school alive. Thank you.
Thank you for your comments. The next four speakers are from Epic Academy, beginning with Summer Dukes, speaker number 4, who's joining us virtually. Please enter *6 to unmute.
Good morning, CPS board members, Epic family, attendees. Thank you for this opportunity to speak on behalf of not only my daughter, but my Epic family. My name is Summer Dukes. My daughter, Dream Dukes, is a freshman at Epic Academy. My use of the word family was not chosen lightly. My daughter comes from a school environment that has been a part of our family from pre-K to 8th grade graduation. So making the decision to attend Epic Academy was chosen with great consideration. I wanted my daughter to have the same outcome for high school. From day one with my Epic family, my daughter has felt as if she has been a student at this school for more than the few months she has been. From the principal to the teachers to the support staff, she has felt welcomed and comfortable with voicing her opinions, asking for assistance, and gaining a new group of friends. Every day I ask my daughter how was her day at school. As she goes through the cycle of explaining, she always ends with I really love my school. I'm sad that they are closing. I hoped I would graduate with my friends. As a parent, this is disheartening to hear, as we all want the best for our children and for them to have their heart's desires. Closing Epic Academy mid-school year will mean some of these fresh relationships will be severed prematurely and could cause great emotional distress that could potentially affect the student's academic success. My Epic family and I ask that you step in and be the bridge for our students. Allow them to finish the year with their school family. And I am calling on the board to help keep this family Epic together into the future. My family at Epic needs your understanding and support. Thank you.
Thank you for your comments. The next speaker is Cornell Johnson, speaker number 7.
Good morning. My name is Cornell Johnson, and I have the privilege of being a paraprofessional and a coach at Epic Academy. I'm here today not just as an educator, but also as someone who deeply believes in what this school means to our community. Epic Academy is more than a building. It's a home for learning, growth, and second chances. Every day I see students walk through the doors who once doubted themselves, now raising their hands with confidence. I watch students discover their voices, build character, and learn that their future truly matters. To close Epic, or any school for that matter, in the middle of the year would do more than just end classes. It would disrupt lives. Students will lose consistency, relationships, and support systems they rely on. Many of our students have found a sense of belonging here for the first time. Taking that away mid-year would send a devastating message. Their stability doesn't matter when it truly does. I understand the challenges, financial, structural, even political, but I also know that when a community believes in its young people, we find a way. Teachers are willing to step up, parents are willing to help, and our students are ready to prove that Epic Academy deserves to keep its doors open. I'm here asking that you do whatever needs to be done to ensure the Epic Academy is open for the remainder of the school year.
You
Beyond
have 30
that,
seconds remaining.
the board needs to make a plan for Epic's community's future. The school changes lives. I've seen it every single day. Let's not take that away in the middle of their journey. Let's work together to find solutions to keep hope, learning, and opportunity alive. Epic Academy matters, and so do the students who call it home. Thank you.
Thank you for your comments. The next speaker is Will Collins, speaker number 26.
Good morning, members of the board. My name is Will Collins, and I have been a teacher, resident of Chicago, and employed at Epic Academy since 2020. I was drawn and keep coming back to Epic because of how special the community and the students are. I have viewed so many students at Epic grow close in their classes, come back to Epic as alumni, and share their experiences from college. Students at Epic have a close-knit homeroom that they have been in since their freshman year, with the same group of peers, growing and learning not only to think critically, but lead each other through discussions, create projects with our career partners to expose them to not only college skills, but the path they want to take in life with any degree. I am also here because of the incredible staff that we have. Epic's closure would have a devastating impact on our students, families, and staff. I know the budget is a crisis and Trump is withholding millions from our schools, but do not let these very real facts distract from the real students who choose to go to Epic, who still choose to go to the school after news of their closing is published. They choose to go to this school in 2025 America, where schools are under attack. Not a lot of donors have stepped in to save a small school in the South Shore community. You have the
30 seconds
opportunity to
remaining.
help this school on 83rd and South Houston and stop them from becoming the first school to close mid-year in CPS. As board members said at the last meeting, let's stop our students from becoming just a number. Let's support a school who excesses in our 5 essentials, a great school that is also suffering from the max exodus of families in dropping enrollments. Please help them avoid this nightmare of continuing their education in a different school with students and teachers they don't know. I implore you to keep Epic open through the end of the year and beyond. Help keep our school community together. Thank you.
Thank you for your comments. The last speaker from Epic Academy is Christian Clark, speaker number 29.
Good morning, Dr. King, President Harden, and other members of the board. It is a privilege to stand before you today. My name is Christian Clark. I am here for Epic Academy, and I've been a teacher this is my 7th year. I'm here to speak on behalf of my students because the fate of their 2025-26 academic year hangs in the balance, but you have the capacity to help. High school years are some of the best times in a person's life, or so I'm told, hallmarked with fond memories of meaningful and joyful times. You remember your high school experience, don't you? I hope it was super fun. I hope reminiscing about it puts a big smile on your face. And at the very least, I hope your school didn't close in the middle of the year, disrupting learning, scattering you and your friends and trusted adults across the city. Imagine how traumatic that would have been. Imagine how that could have impacted your adolescent self. I don't have to tell you that Epic Academy is a commendable school serving marginalized families. But you might not be aware that it is a wonderful choice for a high school because our students are cared for and nurtured academically, and they have enriching experiences too. I love my students, and I hope that they too will be able to reflect fondly upon their high school experiences in the future. Please put us on your
You have 30
agenda.
seconds remaining.
Ensuring that EPIC remains open until June 2026 and keep our school community together beyond this school year. What could be a good valid reason to not support us? I can think of none, and hopefully neither can you. It would be unconscionable to be knowledgeable of the plight of EPIC Academy and to have the wherewithal to assist in keeping her doors open and choose not to do so. Our students are your students. Again, you have the capacity to help, won't you? Hopefully you will. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you for your comments. Before I call the next speaker, I do want to note for the record that Vice President Bautista joined the meeting at 11:38 a.m. The next speaker is Jennifer Torres, speaker number 13, who's joining us virtually. Please enter *6 to unmute.
Good morning. My name is Jennifer Torres. I'm a parent at Inter-American Magnet School. I'm here to speak on behalf of all the CPS students and families who fear being targeted by ICE. These families are afraid to leave their homes, afraid to send their children to school, and afraid to go to work. They're listening to drones over their homes at night and watching for Texas license plates on cars during the day. Yesterday at 11 a.m., a photo was posted by a Spanish-speaking driver at 24th and Ridgeland of an ICE agent with a face covering who stopped a young girl walking to school alone. Our children are not safe. Their families are not safe. One parent says, where my son goes to school, they don't open the door even a minute early before school starts, and the anxiety is terrible. Another parent says at school pickup, the parents are at risk if they have children in different schools and have to wait several minutes outside each of them to come out. I will share a formal letter written by our school's parent-led sanctuary team, which I will also submit to you by email. Dear Chief King and members of the Board of Education, our immigrant communities are being terrorized and harassed by the heightened enforcement efforts of U.S. immigration and customs agents. Parents are afraid of stepping out of their homes and are opting to keep their children home
You have
out
30
of fear
seconds
of
remaining.
being separated from their children, detained and deported. We're reaching out to you today because we need an emergency policy for excused absences. And as we understand the current policy, children who miss school as too many unexcused absences may be reported to DCFS. We would like to see schools instead ensuring absent students are getting their assignments and any support they may need not to fall behind. We request the district explore ways they can make their virtual academy and remote tutoring available. We request clear written guidance
Please conclude your
for school
remarks.
administration for absences when students must remain home due to safety concerns related to immigration enforcement activities in their neighborhood or community. Thank you.
Thank you for your comments. The next speaker is Michael Brunson, speaker number 14.
Hello, everyone. I recently queried AI, which I usually don't do because I personally believe that it's an elite conspiracy to destroy the capacity for critical thinking, independent research, and fruitful dialogue. However, it says that the election process is fundamentally important to a democracy, as it is the primary mechanism through which citizens grant legitimacy to the government and ensure a peaceful transfer of power. Free and fair elections are the basis for self-governance, holding leaders accountable, and reflecting the will of the people. That being said, first of all, I want to applaud this board and the new CEO for their efforts to open the budget process to the public that our school system serves. However, there was no need to reinvent the wheel, and you don't have to make a circle more round. The problem was already solved by the state legislature back in the late 80s and early 90s with the creation of the local school councils. But now, the local school council movement, which actually came from a people's movement, has been undermined by bureaucratic overreach and malicious meddling. I can only say so much in 2 minutes, so let me get to my solution here. I
30
propose
seconds
that
remaining.
this board form a special committee to review and oversee the LSC and LSCAB elections and the performance of the Office of Local School Council Relations. I would also like to meet with any of you that are interested in these issues. And I have the current current process, and I would like to also discuss this with the new CEO, Ms. King. And finally, I would like to say, please listen to me and listen to the complaints that you're getting from the Office of Local School Council Relations. Because if you go to that department and ask if is there any wrongdoings or improprieties,
Please conclude
it's
your
like
remarks.
asking a burglar if there's any stealing going on. You have to talk to the people. So I'm asking you to talk to me. I'm Michael Brunson. People just call me Brunson, no mister. And I want to thank you for listening, because a fellow LSC activist spoke to you about a month ago. I think it was August 28th. And
Please
she
conclude your
hasn't got
remarks.
anything but lip service and runaround. So I'm hoping somebody talks to me or at least responds to my emails. And I would especially like to talk to CEO King. Thank you very much.
Thank you for your comments. Our next speaker is Allison Jack, speaker number 16.
Superintendent King, President Harden, and members of the board. I'm Allison Jack from Inks. And at Inks, we believe in school choice. I think you've heard today how much it means for a family and a student to get the school that works best for each child. And we believe in that at Inks. It is so important. No one, especially not charter leaders, have ever cheered the closure of a school. No one's cheering it. And when Caroline said that, it's absolutely wrong. I'll tell you what's really disappointing is when CPS announced that they were going to close Urban Prep a couple years ago, a CTU operated school, a CTU organized school. CTU was nowhere to be found to try to defend Urban Prep. So they have not been consistent on that. She also talked about how familiar she is with charter school budgets. Then she should know that charter schools are chronically underfunded. The state says that charter schools should get 97% of the PCTC, and they're not getting that right now. And that's one of the reasons you're seeing all these closures, in addition to the problems with Go CPS, which is not helping charter schools to recruit students because charters are hidden on the system. And I know, Dr. King, hopefully we're going to work with you and make some quick fixes because Go CPS is open right now. And the same language around corporate boards. Charters are governed by nonprofit boards, not corporate boards, that are subject to annual audits, which maybe CTU isn't, and the Open Meetings Act. As board member Rivas stated last week, last month, charter schools are held more accountable than district schools. You all have way more data on charter schools than you
30
have
seconds
about your
remaining.
district schools. So I just wanted to point that out. And then what you probably don't want to hear is that by threatening and sometimes actually executing strikes, CTU has pressured charter schools into signing contracts they can't afford. And so at first the teachers might get a raise, but then they've seen a lot of reductions in forces. You can ask the Acero teachers about that. It's why we're seeing union organized charters closing at a higher rate. In fact, all the school closures since 2021 have been union organized charter schools. It's true. Charters
Please
are
conclude your
not a
remarks.
failed experiment, and they are not for-profit operators. They are public schools, just like their district-operated counterparts, who are trying to serve students in this really, really challenging environment. And they're offering programs that families are asking for and need, and sometimes are a matter of survival, as you've heard from the passionate parents from Chi Arts. I really appreciate your time today, and I wish I had more positive comments for you, and I appreciate the work you do. Thank you.
Thank you for your comments. Our next group of speakers are from the Acero Charter Schools, starting with Eduardo Baldera, speaker number 17, who is joining us virtually. Please enter *6 to unmute. Eduardo Baldera, speaker number 17, please enter *6 to unmute.
Hello? Yes.
Thank you. Please
Good morning.
proceed.
Good morning. My name is Eduardo Valderas. I'm the PE teacher here at Tamayo, and I've been the PE teacher for almost 18 years. I would like to talk to you a little bit about my fellow Tamayo teachers. One of the most remarkable things about my colleagues is their genuine commitment to students. Whether it's a teacher staying late, running an after-school academic club to help students catching up or improving their learning, or a coach teaching our students how to play sports, or a counselor supporting a student or family through a difficult time. Everyone at Tamayo goes above and beyond their daily responsibilities. This shared dedication creates a school culture where students and families feel valued and supported. Due to very unfortunate current events, as you may know, I have nothing but admiration for this amazing staff, and I can firmly say that my colleagues are more than co-workers. They are partners, mentors, and friends who share a common mission to help every student reach their full potential. CPS, respectfully, please keep our amazing Tamayo educators at Tamayo. Thank you.
Thank you for your comments. The next speaker is Christine Binder, speaker number 18.
Good afternoon, because it's afternoon. My name is Christine Binder. I, first of all, am the very, very proud parent of an extraordinarily successful Shy Arts graduate class of 2021. Secondly, I am a teacher at Sandra Cisneros Elementary School, and this is not my first time in front of this board. Cisneros is not just a building. It is the heart and soul of a community. We've weathered every high and low together, and we're standing still as our school because we are built on connection with our students, our families, and one another. Once you make that connection with a student, everything shifts. Learning happens, trust grows, magic follows, and that's the power of a whole, stable school community. In February, the CPS board passed a resolution calling for the transition to maximize student and teacher retention. To do that, CPS must guarantee jobs at our current schools for qualified educators like myself and my team. Right now, that just isn't happening. In a few weeks, every teacher and staff member in the building will be laid off by Acero. We will be forced to choose between bumping a colleague at another school or taking the risk and staying at our current school with no guarantee that CPS will rehire us. That's not what the resolution promised.
You have 30 seconds
That's
remaining.
not what they promised to our families or our schools. We fought to keep our school open and our students and our community together. We shouldn't have to fight to stay with them. Respectfully, that is not what keeping communities whole looks like. Our students can't afford any more instability in their lives. They deserve teachers who already know them, the ones that have cheered their victories, calmed their fears, and shown up for them day after day, keeping them safe. We fought to keep our school open because we believe in our kids and this community, and we're asking you to do the same, to
Please
make sure
conclude your remarks.
CPS keeps their word. Keep our school family together. Let us keep doing what we do best, which is teaching, connecting, changing lives, and really loving on kids. Thank you for your time and for standing with us, not just in words, but in action.
Thank you for your comments. The next speaker is Shannon Phillips, speaker number 19, who is joining us virtually. Please enter *6 to unmute. Shannon Phillips, speaker number 19, please enter *6 to unmute.
Hi, my name is Shannon Phillips, and I am the STEM teacher at Tamayo School. Tamayo is one of the Acero charter schools that is transitioning to Chicago Public Schools. As part of that process, We've spent a lot of time thinking about what makes our school special and what makes Tamayo Tamayo. For me, one of the most important factors is the knowledge, the knowing. As part of my role, I work with the same students for 5 years in a row. I get to know the students and their needs so well. I get to know which students need help with writing or who needs a little extra time to complete their work. When we do a project about animals, I know which student will pick a cheetah every single time. But there's a lot we don't know. We don't know what our schools will look like next year. I don't know if I will have a job at Tamayo next year. I don't know if I will be here to do these interactive science activities. I don't know if my colleague will be here to support struggling readers. I don't know if our Spanish teacher will be here to support bilingual teaching. I just don't know. Last year, the board made a resolution stating that the schools should maximize student and staff retention, but we have not received that commitment from our future employer. We don't know whether we'll have jobs next year or not. We don't know what classes, programs, supports, and field trips
You
our
have 30
students will be
seconds
part of.
remaining.
We just don't know. Please give us the guarantee. Let us know we will have our jobs next year so that we can focus on what we do best, planning and preparing for our students. Thank you.
Thank you for your comments. The next speaker is Reina Rodriguez, speaker number 22.
Estimados miembros de la Junta Directiva, hola, me llamo Reina y hoy me presento ante ustedes para hablar en nombre de nuestra comunidad de Santiago, en especial de los niños que consideran este edificio su hogar. Durante el último año y medio han enfrentado desafíos y estrés sin precedentes. La estabilidad se ha convertido en algo normal en sus vidas. Y es nuestra responsabilidad asegurarnos de que no pierdan el único lugar que conocen como santuario aparte de sus hogares. Durante 15 años, este edificio ha sido más que una simple estructura. Es un lugar de esperanza y seguridad en donde ha florecido amistades. Al elegir comprar este edificio, ustedes tienen el poder de cumplir la promesa que le hicieron a nuestra comunidad y a nuestros estudiantes. Ya han sufrido mucho y lo que necesitan ahora es tranquilidad, un rayo de esperanza, de que pueden continuar su camino sin el temor de perder su segundo hogar. Ellos tienen confianza en ustedes. Ellos creen en ustedes y su compromiso con su bienestar. No los defrauden. No sean quienes les rompan el corazón otra vez. En cambio, sean quienes luchen por su futuro, asegurándoles un entorno estable donde puedan prosperar. Juntos podemos marcar la diferencia y brindarles a estos niños la seguridad que tanto necesitan. Gracias por su atención y por apoyarnos en esta labor tan crucial. Espero que incluyan este asunto en la agenda y nos ayuden a seguir construyendo sueños en este edificio que hemos conocido durante los últimos 15 años. Pero antes de terminar, me gustaría darles un mensaje.
Segundos, por favor, concluye.
Me gustaría darles un mensaje de nuestros pequeños, que claro, no pudieron estar aquí porque ellos siguen haciendo lo que aman y es estudiar.
Dear CPS board members, we got one favor to ask.
Gracias.
Gracias por tus comentarios.
We'll now have this statement translated.
Dear members of the board, hello, my name is Reina, and today I stand before you to speak on behalf of our Santiago community, especially the children who call this building their home. In the past year and a half, they have faced unprecedented challenges and stress. Stability has become a rare commodity in their lives, and it is our responsibility to ensure that they don't lose the one place they know as a sanctuary aside from their own homes. For 15 years, This building has been more than just a structure. It's a foundation of hope and security. It's where friendships have blossomed, dreams have been nurtured, and countless memories have been created. By choosing to buy this building, you have the power to uphold the promise you have made to our community and our children. They have endured so much, and what they need now is reassurance, a ray of hope that they can continue their journey without the fear of losing their second home. You have their trust. They believe in you. They believe in you and your commitment to their well-being. Don't let them down. Let us not be the ones who break their hearts again. Instead, let's be the ones who fight for their future, ensuring that they have a stable environment where they can thrive. Together, we can make a difference and give these children the security they so need. Thank you for your attention and for standing with us on this crucial endeavor. I hope you guys get this matter in the agenda and help us stay to build dreams in our building, the one we have gotten to know for the last 15 years. But before finishing, I would like to give you a message from our little ones who could not be here since they continue to do what they love, study.
Dear CPS board members, we got one favor to ask.
Thank you. The last speaker, I should say, from the Acero schools is Daniela Madlanovich, speaker number 24.
Good afternoon, Board of Education. My name is Daniela Mladenovic, and I am a reading specialist at Tamayo. This is my 15th year with Acero and my 5th year at Tamayo. This is my 20th year in the U.S. as I am an immigrant from Serbia. You can hear my accent. My first year at Tamayo, I asked my struggling readers about their reading habits, and one of my students exclaimed, "How can we read when we don't have any books at home?" This propelled me to action. I created a team of teachers, thank you Raquel, Abby, Diana, Olga, Jan, and a team of parents, thank you Imelda, Isabel, Marisol, Maria, to help me create a school library so our students can have books. I collected more than $15,000 in grants and donations to make this dream a reality. My principal and all the teachers support me throughout this journey. We opened our Tamayo library in February 2023. Our students read over 7,300 books in 2 years. We are a small school. Our students can't wait to go to the library, and many fell in love with reading. The reading scores have increased too. But all this is not only my effort. Every single teacher at our school worked so hard to get these results. My story is just one example of the extraordinary teachers who go an extra mile for our students. But there are so many more in our network.
You have
in
30
our
seconds
school.
remaining.
Tamayo teachers are the most dedicated and invested teachers. Students are wonderful. School leaders are there for us, and the families are very supportive. It's a collective work of community that makes our school a place to be. Board of Education, I stand here before you painting the pictures of how much we have invested in our schools. We want to stay in our schools. We fought so hard to keep them open for our students and our communities. The CPS resolution in February calls for a transition to maximize student and teacher retention, as we have heard. But CPS is refusing to guarantee a placement in our schools. I am asking you to please step in and ensure the CPS enacts the intention behind the resolutions and keep our communities whole. Thank you.
Thank you for your comments. Our next speaker is Thelma Roman, speaker number 20, who's joining us virtually. Please enter *6 to unmute.
Telma, por favor, presiona estrella y el número 6.
Buenos días.
Buenos días.
Mi nombre
puede
es
seguir.
Telma Román. Soy mamá de 3 estudiantes de CPS. Quiero agradecer a la Dr. King por asistir al desfile de nuestra escuela Mary Lyon en agosto, a la Alderman Ruth Cruz del 30 Distrito y al principal de nuestra escuela, el señor Gabor, por apoyar a nuestra comunidad. Quiero manifestar que en estos momentos es muy preocupante para nosotros como padres la seguridad de cada uno de nuestros niños. La seguridad de ellos es realmente muy vulnerable en estos momentos. En nuestro vecindario hemos sido víctimas de ataques indiscriminados de ICE y ha habido muchos avistamientos de ICE alrededor de las escuelas. Nuestros niños y jóvenes no quieren ir a la escuela por miedo a que sus padres sean detenidos o incluso ellos mismos. He platicado con varios padres y me han manifestado que sus niños no están durmiendo normalmente, que están nerviosos, no quieren comer. Nuestra niñez no tiene por qué estar atemorizada. Es nuestra responsabilidad proveerles un lugar seguro. Y creo que mientras nuestros niños estén dentro de las escuelas, están protegidos de ICE. Pero, ¿qué pasa cuando salen de casa camino a la escuela? O cuando terminan las clases y van de regreso a casa. En ese momento, nuestros niños no están seguros. Hemos visto también que a ICE no le importa atacar alrededor de los niños. La semana pasada, mientras los padres esperaban a la salida de la escuela Northwest Middle School, en el 5252 Southwest del Apartment, 2 padres fueron secuestrados por ICE. Y estoy segura que esto ha pasado en más escuelas. A ellos, ICE, no les importa el trauma que le están provocando a los niños. Por eso es que nosotros estamos en este momento aquí. Porque a nosotros nos importa la seguridad física y la seguridad mental de nuestros niños.
Tienes 30
Sabemos que
segundos, por
CPA
favor, concluye.
no tiene control de lo que pasa antes de la escuela, antes o después de las clases. Por eso mismo queremos encontrar soluciones. Tenemos esperanza de que nos brinden autobuses para que recojan a los niños de punto A a punto B. Un pasaje seguro o que nos den clases remotas para los niños afectados, igual como pasó en la pandemia, mientras este caos termina. Gracias por escucharme.
tus comentarios, por favor, concluye.
We'll now have our translator translate the statement into English.
Good morning. My name is Telma Roman, and I'm the mother of 3 CPS students. I am grateful to CEO Dr. King for having attended our school's Mary Lyons parade on August, as well as Alderwoman Ruth Cruz of Ward 30 and Mary Lyon Principal Mr. Gabor for their support to our community. I also want to state that at times, the safety of each of our children is very concerning for us as parents, and their safety at this point feels very tenuous. In our neighborhoods, we've been victims of ICE's indiscriminate attacks, and there have been many sightings of ICE around schools. Our children, our teens, don't want to go to school out of fear that their parents or even themselves will be detained. I've spoken to various parents, and they've told me their children have not been sleeping properly, are nervous, and have lost their appetites. What I mean to say is that our children should not, in an ideal world, have reason to fear. It's our responsibility to give them a completely secure space, and I believe that while our children are at school, they will remain protected from ICE. That said, what happens when they leave home to go to school? Or when classes end and they return home? At these points, our children are no longer safe. We've also seen that ICE has no compunctions about striking in sight of our children. Last week, while parents waited at Northwest Middle School at 5252 West Palmer Street to let children out, 2 parents were kidnapped by ICE. And I'm sure this has happened at other schools. ICE does not care about the trauma they are causing our children. That is why we are here and now, because we care about our children's physical safety and mental health. We know CPS doesn't have control of what happens before or after classes, and that's why we want to find solutions. We hope that you can provide school buses that can bring children from point A to point B, safe routes where the children can use to walk together to school, or allow our affected students to take classes remotely like they did during the pandemic, just for the duration of this chaos. That is all I want to say. Thank you for listening.
Thank you. And the last speaker from the registered speakers list is Tracy Sandlin, speaker number 28.
Good morning, President Hardin, Dr. King, and board members. I apologize for talking fast. I have a lot to say. My name is Tracy Sandlin. I'm I'm the Chief Executive Officer of Chicago Collegiate Charter School in Roseland. I'm a 4th generation educator in Chicago and the 3rd generation to teach and lead in the city of Chicago. I once was a CPS contract principal as well on the west side of the city. I've heard the rhetoric about we being a failed experiment and lacking the appropriate oversight of our practices. Our renewal process is far more thorough and occurs more frequently than any other school evaluation process I've been in as a CPS principal or in my nearly 20 years as an educator. Our renewal application this year was 39 pages, 11 size, single-space font. This was in addition to the hundreds of artifacts I submit yearly, as well as additional ones that are requested as part of our renewal process. We also submit supplemental documentation and narratives to justify our practices for any domains below district performance standards. Let's get to the meat of what I want to talk about today. I'm here today to tell you about the results of my failed experiment. Our first graduating class, 193 acceptances, $4 million in merit-based money. Our second graduating class, 316 college acceptances and $8 million in merit-based funding. Our third graduating class, 515 college acceptances and $34 million in merit-based scholarships. 16 of my babies had $1 million apiece in merit-based funding. Our fourth graduating class of my failed experiment, 600 college acceptances and $59 million in merit-based scholarships. We are not a failure, and it hasn't been too bad for a failed experiment.
You
The
have 30
audacity
seconds
of a greater
remaining.
educational community to question the ability of our families to decide what is best for their scholars is grossly egregious to me. We are asking to be treated fairly, funded equitably, and list us equitably on GoCPS and School Finder so our families can decide what they want for their kids as they've had for the past 12 years at Chicago Collegiate. Thank you very much for your time.
Thank you for your comments. We do have one more registered speaker who rejoined, Alashay Redmond, speaker number 27, who's joining us virtually. Please enter *6 to unmute.
Hello.
Please proceed.
Hello, good afternoon. My name is Alashay Redmond. I'm a parent of Taraya Price. She was a fourth grade student at Harvard Elementary School. My concerns, I have a lot of concerns as far as the staff, the teachers, the principal, professionalism, rule, not communicative. I have to transfer my daughter from that school to a new school because my daughter was not being treated fairly at Harvard. And I basically want to know, is there someone else that I can talk to other than being on this board meeting?
Thank you for your comments. President Harden, we also have elected officials who would like to address the board. We'll begin with Alderman Byron Sigcho Lopez from the 25th Ward, who's joining us virtually. Please enter *6 to unmute.
Good afternoon, members of the board, CEO, and all the parents, teachers, and students, all the people who are right now fighting for our city in very difficult times. I want to touch on a few points regarding first, and this morning we were with Chai Axe community, of course, demanding accountability for charter schools that are privately managed but publicly funded, and that's publicly accountable. So we are calling on all board members to demand from the Illinois Board of Education and state representatives more accountability and oversight for these charter schools that promise choice. But when it comes to honoring the commitments to parents, they not even have the decency to communicate to students, parents, teachers about the decisions that are affecting their livelihoods. So I want to make sure that we continue to fight, all of us, to fully fund our schools so that we do not normalize privatization, the defunding, the disinvestment that has been chronic in our school districts like Chicago. So today we can make the difference, and I thank the Board of Education, every single member, for advocating for every single child, every single time. So this is the moment to also demand that our government officials at the state level are true partners in this moment and fully fund our schools by taxing the millionaires, by going to veto session with ideas and suggestions for progressive revenue. Enough of talking the talk and having a democratic rhetoric, but continue to have a GOP Republican tax code where the rich pay less and less and the poor and working people have to pay more and more. Today we have schools that are in dire need of support because the children are suffering. We need family preparedness because of what's happening. We have, as you know, many children in our schools whose only meal oftentimes in the schools, and now they cannot even get to school. We need to make sure that we provide accommodations. We have parents right now that have 6, 7 children that they're helping to get to school. We need to step up in this moment. I'm calling on the governor, the state, and all our electeds and all our partners to meet the moment by feeling the urgency, and also to make sure that we collaborate with local school councils and every school district to make sure that we give remote options. We even have some local school councils that cannot meet because the state still have not provided flexibility for virtual options when needed, including where children cannot get to school. But I ask us in this moment in time to look at our humanity, to reach on each other, to uplift each other. We cannot be the only ones fighting Trump for real. Fighting Trump is not only talking nice, cute TikTok videos or press conference. Demands action in the legislative bodies to fully fund our schools. Demand action and collaboration and coordination between mayors and the governor across the state and across our country. This is the moment that we need to lead to be an alternative to the fascist regime that is terrorizing innocent children. We want to make sure that everybody knows that Chicago is fighting, and with us, we cannot fight alone. We need our governor and state partners in this moment to help us provide the necessary needs for our communities, remote learning, meals, transportation, and also to help because we are now victims of an assault and racial profiling that is causing trauma, deep trauma in our families, including children that have anxiety attacks, panic attacks, and depression because of the terror that they see masked individuals unleashing in our streets. We are not provoking anybody. We don't want no violence, but the violence is already coming from the federal government against our children. As they intimidate judges and as they intimidate those who stand for justice, we got to know that we are a lot more than they are. So this is the moment of courage, action, and clarity. I call on the governor to investigate, to fully fund, to fully hold accountable these charter operators, to meet and honor the demands, to communicate with parents, and to work together, the state and city and county, working together to face this attack on our city, on democracy, on human rights, and the dignity of
You have 30
children,
seconds remaining.
for God's sake. This is the moment that we need to stand together. This is the moment of unity, coalition building, to demand that our state and city partners meet the moment. We cannot allow the disinvestment to be the chronic disease that fails our children. We must invest now to prevent the chaos that Trump wants in our city. Thank you, everybody, for fighting. Thank you to the rapid responders. Thank you to the teachers, to the parents, to the students. You are the courage of the moment, and we demand a lot more for elected officials to fight Trump and fight him together. Thank you so much.
Thank you for your comments. The next elected official is Alderman Gilbert Villegas from the 36th Ward, who's joining us virtually. Please enter *6 to unmute.
Good afternoon, members of the board. Dr. King, I once again come before you to raise the issue of Esmeralda Santiago Elementary. A beloved school in the heart of Humboldt Park, this high-achieving school serves predominantly Black and brown children and stands as a pillar of its community. The building it is in is not merely a learning institution, but a familial home to so many. Santiago's families, teachers, and students have repeatedly rallied for its future, and the board honored that by voting in February to absorb Santiago into the CPS system, and more importantly, keep it open. I ask that you make good on that commitment. We see now that the building itself at 2510 West Cortez has been put up for sale by the Archdiocese. This has been brought to your attention for the past several board meetings. The stability of the school and the hundreds of families it serves is in jeopardy. I again urge the board to acquire the property. As I've noted before, CPS will benefit from this by gaining a critical asset in the property portfolio securing the long-term future of Santiago Elementary, honoring its commitment to Humboldt Park's families, and avoid pouring taxpayer money into a property we don't even own. In February of this year, the school board voted 16-3 to keep several Acero schools open, including Santiago. Now that the turmoil from that time is settled and the news is buzzing less, the question is, will you keep your commitment? You told the community you would. Now it's time to take action. If not, then it will be you, the board, that needs to answer to our community. You, the board, will need to explain to them why you would not invest in their futures. You, the board, who is responsible for closing schools. Thank you.
Thank you for your comments. The last elected official is Laura Yepes, First Ward Committee person who's here in person.
Good afternoon. Hello, my name is Laura Yepes, and I am the Democratic Committee woman for the First Ward. I am honored to speak in front of the CPS Board of Education, and specifically the elected members of the board, Jessica Biggs and Carlos Rivas, who represent the 6th and the 3rd districts that overlap the First Ward. I'm also honored to be here with my friend, good friend, Meg Arbiter, who's been a teacher of Shy Arts for 15 years. I am a parent of a Shy Arts graduate who is now a sophomore at SCAD, Savannah College of Art and Design. When we first discovered Shy Arts at a high school forum, we were immediately impressed and excited. My son was always drawing since they were very little, and during COVID, art was the means out of an extremely isolating period. They connected with an online community of artists, and when schools reopened, they were so excited to attend a school filled with other creatives. They found their community at Shy Arts. The school offered exactly what we were looking for, a rigorous academic program with a dedicated arts conservatory. This school gave my son the opportunity to hone their craft while preparing them for a post-secondary education. They learned the fundamentals of arts degree and got to explore sketch, sculpture, and photography. They received vital critique from experienced teachers as well as their peers. We explored other CPS schools such as Senn and Lincoln Park High School that offered visual art programs. We also investigated private schools like Chicago Academy for the Arts, which has a tuition of about $30,000 a year and probably even more by now. The unique offerings, reputation, and alumna of Shy Arts was unmatched. I especially appreciated that while the application process was rigorous, Shy Arts was dedicated in giving all students, no matter their skill level, an opportunity to pursue a performing arts concentration. We often overlook the arts as an academic career, yet our world is filled with creativity in commerce as well as public spaces. Architecture, highways, green spaces, housing, retail environments are all products of design. In much the same way as our digital environments are based on design, you cannot have Instagram, TikTok, websites, gaming, or even data dashboards without art. Let's face it, we are all visual learners and consume information via artistic expression every minute of the day. Art is also a political statement, a reflection of the current cultural and political tensions. It is both personal as well as public. We live in a world surrounded by visual cues, music and dance that give voice to the voiceless and fuels commerce. All is this to say that Shy Arts is a gem that deserves to exist in our public education system. When so many schools are cutting art and music programs, we need a school that stands boldly and embraces the arts. We need a school that allows students the freedom to explore their artistic expression. And more importantly, we need more schools like Shy Arts that prepare students to thrive in a creative community and leave a positive mark on society via the arts. It is my hope and the hope of many other parents that Shy Arts remain open. In fact, I would love to see the program expand to offer more students this unique educational experience. And we should be proud to have such a special institution be a part of Chicago Public Schools. Thank you very much for your time.
Thank you for your comments. President Hardin, this concludes public participation.
We are indeed in unprecedented times, and we appreciate
all of the impassioned comments from the public today. I want to briefly offer Dr. King an opportunity to talk about the district's position relative to ICE.
Good afternoon. I want to take a moment to acknowledge the very real fear and anxiety that is plaguing our communities across the district. Many of our communities, and I would say us included, because our team and our board members, we are experiencing this every day. We're experiencing the fear and anxiety as a result of the increased presence of federal law enforcement in our city. In these uncertain times, I want to reassure all of our families, all of our students, all of our staff members, our schools will remain a safe place for all of our children. Since November of 2024, which is how long we've been, this kind of kicked off and started, Chicago Public Schools has been actively and thoughtfully responding to the changes in federal policy and the rising law enforcement activity affecting our school communities. As federal activities escalate, I want to assure you our response will continuously evolve in response to the activity. We've taken critical steps to protect our students, families, and staff, including establishing clear protocols and training key staff to respond swiftly and effectively to any potential disruptions, and that means we have to do this daily. Providing around-the-clock support to school leaders and communities experiencing heightened stress due to activity outside their buildings. We've had to stand up a command center because we're committed to responding to our leaders daily. We're collaborating closely with our labor partners, community organizations, city government agencies to ensure a coordinated and compassionate response within and outside of the school building, and we're doing that daily. Offering families access to trusted resources, trusted people, guidance, and timely information to help them feel safe and supported is our priority. We understand the weight many of our families are carrying, and we want you to know you are not alone. We are here for you. We are with you. Our commitment to protecting our students, staff, and school communities is unwavering. We will continue to stand together, stand firm, stand united, and resolute in our mission to create safe and supportive schools for all. Thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you, Dr. King. This concludes public participation. We'll now move into a short recess. Board Member Lozano, do you have motion MO1?
I move that the board take a 20-minute recess.
Is there a
Is there
second?
Second.
I second the motion.
Thank you. I'll proceed with a roll call. Member Lozano.
Yes.
Member Smith.
Aye.
Member Lopez.
Aye.
Member Velez.
Yes.
Member Boyle.
Yes.
Member Wallace.
Aye.
Member Custer.
Aye.
Member Pope.
Yes.
Member Rosenfeld.
Yes.
Member Rivas.
Yes.
Member Brown.
Yes.
Member Rio Sierra.
Aye.
Member Bannon.
Aye.
Vice President Bautista.
Yes.
Member Gutierrez.
Aye.
Member Biggs.
Yes.
Member Thodakura.
Yes.
Member Blaze.
Aye.
Member Zakor.
Yes.
Member DeBerry.
Aye.
20 ayes, 0 nays. This motion is adopted by the board. This meeting will now go into a 20-minute recess.
The meeting of the Board of Education is reconvened.
Before we go into the motion for close, we do want to have the statement read by Dr. King, read into the record in Spanish.
Okay. Quiero tomar un momento para reconocer el temor y la ansiedad muy reales que muchas de nuestras comunidades están sintiendo en este momento en respuesta al aumento de la presencia de las fuerzas federales de orden público. En estos tiempos de incertidumbre, quiero asegurarles a todas nuestras familias, nuestras escuelas siguen siendo espacios seguros para cada niño. Desde noviembre de 2024, las escuelas públicas de Chicago han estado respondiendo de manera activa y reflexiva a los cambios en la política federal y el aumento de la actividad de las fuerzas del orden que afectan a nuestras comunidades escolares. Hemos tomado pasos críticos para proteger a nuestras estudiantes, familias y personal, incluyendo establecer protocolos claros y capacitar al personal clave para responder de manera rápida y eficaz a cualquier posible interrupción. Brindar apoyo las 24 horas a los líderes escolares en comunidades que experimentan un mayor nivel de estas debido a la actividad fuera de sus edificios. Colaborar estrechamente con nuestros socios sindicales, organizaciones comunitarias y otras agencias gubernamentales para asegurar una respuesta coordinada y compasiva. Ofrecer a las familias acceso a recursos confiables, orientación y información oportuna para ayudarles a sentirse seguros y apoyados. Entendemos el peso que muchas de nuestras familias están cargando y queremos que sepan, no están solas. Estamos aquí para ustedes. Nuestro compromiso de proteger a nuestros estudiantes, personal y comunidades escolares es firme. Continuaremos permaneciendo unidos, firmes, unidos y resueltos en nuestra misión de crear escuelas seguras y solidarias para todos. That's it.
Thank you.
Thank you. We'll now move into executive session. Board Member Rosenfield, do you have motion MO2?
I move for the passes of motion number 25-1008-M02 and the commencement of a closed session to consider matters permitted under Section 2C of the Open Meetings Act, subsection 1, as specified in the motion.
Is there a second?
I second the motion.
I'll proceed with a roll call. Member Lozano?
Yes.
Member Smith?
Aye.
Member Lopez?
Aye.
Member Velez?
Yes.
Member Boyle?
Yes.
Member Wallace?
Aye.
Member Custer?
Aye.
Member Pope?
Yes.
Member Rosenfeld?
Yes.
Member Rivas?
Yes.
Member Brown?
Yes, ma'am.
Member Rio Sierra?
Aye.
Member Bannon?
Aye.
Vice President Bautista? She's not here right now. Member Gutierrez?
Aye.
Member Biggs?
Yes.
Member Thodakura?
Yes.
Member Blaze? Not here. Member Zakor?
Yes.
Member DeBerry?
Yes.
18 ayes, 0 nays. This motion is adopted by the board.
This meeting will go into closed session. The meeting of the Board of Education is reconvened. We'll now proceed with the business portion of the meeting. Dr. King, we are ready for presentations.
Thank you, President Harden. We will begin with our presentation first from Josh Long. Chief Long, thank you.
Good evening, everyone. I'm going to skip to some slides here and just really appreciate the opportunity to be speaking in front of all of you today. I know we've had the opportunity, some of us more than others, to have conversations about special education, which I assure you is top of mind for us on a daily basis. Yeah, is that better? Okay, top of mind for us on a daily basis. The slide that you see in front of you shows the rise of special education teachers in Chicago Public Schools. Over the last 5 years, we've seen the growth of special education teachers of over 800 added. The bottom numbers show the amount of vacancies that we have as of the 20th day, and I want to point out to all of you that we have the lowest vacancy rate that we've had in the past 5 years. The troubling statistic that I want to share with all of you is that when we look at our vacancies, 72% of our vacancies are in our South and West Side schools for special education teachers. And we all know that students still come to school. And so we need to think about that together, about what that actually means. And I am encouraged by, the energy that you've shown to really think about this together. Looking at our paraprofessionals, which for special education, we call those special education classroom assistants, we've grown by 2,700 positions in the last 5 years. That represents a 59% growth. And we look at our vacancy rates, we have the lowest vacancy rates for paraprofessionals than we've seen in the last 5 years. So even as we have risen the number of positions and are continuing to meet the legally required needs of our students, our vacancy rates remain lower. And similar to teachers, we have a 71% rate of special education classroom assistants on the south and west sides that are vacant, something that we need to address. Another topic that I want to discuss with all of you is students waiting for cluster assignment. You might say, why do we have any students who we don't have placed on time? Why aren't they placed? And you're right, as of the 20th day, we had 241 students in Chicago Public Schools who did not have a cluster placement. But what I'd like to share with you is the trends that we've seen in cluster placement. You might say, well, how do you predict who's going to be in cluster? Well, we have the students who are currently in a cluster assignment, and we also have the ones who we can anticipate being identified as needing that placement. We see that we have data that's pretty consistent up to SY21. Then starting in SY22, we see growth that is something that is difficult to say that this is exactly how it's going to be year over year. The top two lines show the growth in students in clustered programs. From June 1st of this year through September 19th, we've had 350 students who have been identified as needing a cluster placement. That growth has made it difficult for us to anticipate to have the correct amount of seats for the students, and that's why we still have students waiting on those placements. This concludes my truncated presentation. I'm happy to take some questions if anybody has any.
Thank you, Chief.
Just stating that I will be emailing my questions. I have several.
Thank you.
Also happy to meet with you if you'd like, as
Yeah.
board members of court can attest to.
You can expect Chief Long with several follow-up questions from the board.
Thank you all. I appreciate that.
Thank you.
I've had my mic on.
Member Pope.
Yeah, just really briefly, thank you for truncating your report, given the lateness of the hour, but the issue is super important to us all. And I know that Teresa and I will be looking forward to meeting with you and addressing the myriad of questions that have come to us from parents, teachers, and that will come to us from board members as soon as we can schedule that. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
President Harding will now have a presentation from the Operations Department. Ivan Hansen, Chief Facilities Officer.
Thank you. Good evening. I'm Ivan Hansen, Chief Facilities Officer. I'm gonna cut to a couple here before I turn it over to Caleb. Just a little background. We are going to talk about the insourcing the custodial piece, but I just want to give a little background, just so you can appreciate the scale of this work, is what our portfolio is. As you know, it's extremely large. Our average age facility is 86 years old. Our oldest is 152 years old, and we maintain over 62 million square feet. Just to put that into perspective, that's the equivalent of 14 Sears Towers. As you know, we have a lot of budgetary constraints and a large backlog of deferred need. We're over $3 billion in deferred need right now. I'm going to turn quickly into some of the history with the custodial operations is why we're insourcing, as we learned some things. One was definitely the accountability. Under the privatized model, we could only make recommendations to the vendors. We didn't have full access or transparency or the final say. So bringing that in-house does give us that. Second, there was some equity. In the schools, there were two unions doing the same job under two separate contracts. So that did create different models of complexity in the field for those areas. And the big part of this is this was part of our strategic plan under the Together We Rise. And we committed to transitioning 25% of the roles into CPS employment. This does insourcing elevates the quality, fosters our accountability, and strengthens the connections with every school through this transition. I'm going to turn it over to Caleb to kind of run through some more of the details.
Good afternoon. I'm going to go over some history quickly. In 2014, the custodial services was contracted out 100% for management to Airmark. We still provided some board custodians, 825. That continued through the Integrated Facility Management Period, IFM, 2017 through 21, where we were contracted with Airmark and SEDEX of Magic. We did continue to provide 825 board custodians. That number was increased by 400, bringing our total to 1225 during the pandemic. In 2021, Airmark did hold the custodial contract. Again, for management, we had 1225 board custodians. And we did start transitioning supply management and equipment management during that time period and bringing that in-house. Last year in 2024, we did bring the management directly in-house and had 7 different contracted vendors to continue to provide some of the private custodians. And this year we have fully insourced all of the private custodians, ending essentially 10 years of private management. For the transition, we notified the private vendors were notified of the early contract termination August 1st. We had 8 weeks to hire 750 custodians. We wound up hiring 770. We backfilled some of our own vacancies as well with a pool of private custodians. We did the involuntary transfer process for displaced Local 73 custodians. The assignment letters went out September 16th to the current Local 73 custodians. And then so this past September 30th was our first full day of 0 private custodians. Quickly, just some highlights on the difference between the management between the facilities and custodial field lead, which I'll refer to as FCFL, and principals. The FCFLs are the direct supervisors for the custodial staff. They handle the scheduling, performance management, and compliance with district standards. Principals remain the instructional and operational leaders of their schools. They communicate priorities, event needs, and daily adjustments through their FCFLs. Weekly check-ins between the principals and FCFLs ensure shared accountability, transparency, and alignment with school goals. This partnership model gives every school both local flexibility and system-wide consistency. One of the things that we are priding ourselves on is the utilization of technology to make data-driven decisions. For absence management, we do utilize Frontline, which is the same system used by teachers. It tracks custodial absences, and we use it to identify call-off trends. Principals are receiving daily reports of all of those that have called off, or if they have a pre-scheduled benefit day. Those reports will show whether or not we have placed a roving custodian into that vacancy for the day. We are able to utilize the absence data to identify trends and patterns. The software provides a system of record to track the assignments of roving custodians, therefore allowing us to identify the percentage of shifts filled versus unfilled, and being able to view unfilled positions allows the FCFLs to proactively plan to mitigate those absences. We have also provided custodians with mobile devices. This allows custodians to access Frontline, CrowdComfort, and other platforms directly, ensuring real-time communication and accurate reporting. Ultimately, it provides equity. It ensures that each custodian has the same tools, and it avoids reliance on personal devices. If custodians do want to use their personal device for CrowdComfort, they do have that option, but we are providing cell phones for those who don't. That brings me to CrowdComfort. It provides live visibility into cleaning activity, showing principals and facility leaders when and where rooms are serviced. FCFLs can see what spaces weren't cleaned and provide direction to address those areas. The data shows if custodians are cleaning their assigned areas or if there's a deviation. They're also able to log their ad hoc work. So if a student spills something in the cafeteria and the custodian has to clean it up, they can log that so we can see that additional activity that they've performed. And we are able to use the data to identify patterns with missed spaces so we can research further to identify the root cause and come up with a plan to address that. These tools help us measure what matters: absence rates, coverage rates, and cleaning completion accuracy. They also provide regional comparisons and workforce planning to ensure our schools receive equitable support. I am thrilled to share that facilities independently pursued the Healthy Green Schools and Colleges certification for 2 years. We hosted the Healthy Green Schools and Colleges National Conference, July 18th, 2024 at Inglewood STEM High School and Mays Elementary School for other school districts and entities to see what we have implemented in our district. On May 16th, 2025, CPS was not only the first district in the nation, but also the first entity to be certified under the Healthy Green Schools and Colleges program. This is important because this does recognize our commitment to sustainability, improving indoor air quality, and healthier learning spaces. It means that CPS custodial teams are using safer cleaning products that are also in alignment with the board green cleaning policy, as well as the State of Illinois Green Cleaning Schools Act, reducing waste and setting a new national benchmark for school health standards. It's a tremendous point of pride for our department and proof that operational excellence and environmental responsibility can go hand in hand. And that concludes the presentation for this evening.
Thank you. Are there any questions or comments? Board Member Rivas.
Hi, this can be answered afterwards, but my question is, so when we have at schools that have like 2 night custodians and they both call off, and where you don't find a replacement for that evening to cover the shift, what ends up happening to ensure that our schools are able to open the next day clean? I've been getting lots of complaints related to that. I'm just concerned because obviously people call off and they're, have the right to use their sick days, vacation time, whatever else. But just wondering about the cleanliness when we have no one in the afternoon shift at a school.
Yes, sir, and we're utilizing overtime in those cases to help mitigate. So we'll pull morning custodians that are willing to work overtime to clean those areas.
Member Lopez.
Thank you, Board President. I will also be emailing my questions. They are in the categories, including specifically who's going to be supervising the new onboarded custodians, from evaluations and also training and onboarding. Thank you.
Vice President Bautista.
Yeah, my concern are the changes in the custodians and like the salary and pay changes. Have we been able to meet like the salaries that those folks who were moving over to work at CPS so that they can continue to have their salaries intact? And then also the other part is I know there was like conversations about speaking with with the 2 different unions at SEIU to make sure that those workers can keep their seniority. Can you tell me if any of that has been able to be accomplished, or if they're still in negotiations? And yeah.
We're actually still in conversation with both unions.
Okay, what is the timeline, and can you give me a sense of like how that is looking? And also, is the pay, if people are gonna reapply and work at CPS now, are they going to have a pay cut, or will they be able to honor the pay that they were making?
No, it's a great question. So our target is to have this all wrapped up this year, right? This before the Christmas break. So we're working with the unions to try to get through the pay piece. There is documentation that we need to get to verify to make sure that the time is right and their seniority is there. So for the pay rate, we want to get that right. We are trying to get it done as fast as possible, but I would say realistically, an honest goal would be this year to have that wrapped up, to make sure the pay is correct. On the seniority piece, the union, it's 2 different locals, but it's the same union. They are still talking about what they can do on their end with their seniority piece on that. And both of these we'd like to get rectified before the end of the year.
Okay.
Member Smith.
Yeah, well, I think it's a good thing that the custodian services are going back to the schools. I've been speaking to some principals that are complaining that they don't have authority over the hiring and firing processes of their custodians yet. And so I guess my first question is, what authority do principals have when it comes to staffing their custodians at their school? That's one. The other one is, I know a few schools now that can hire custodians but can't get any because of the safety issue. And what I'm speaking about is some custodians get off at 9 o'clock at night, 10 o'clock at night. Custodians have been robbed waiting on the bus to go home. Has there been any thought to how to handle the security once we get qualified custodians in the schools? Any thought to security when they leave work late at night, especially in underserved communities?
So I'll answer the second part and let Caleb answer on the first one, the hiring piece. But so yes, security is always of the utmost importance to us. But we also do need to schedule staffing for when there's activities at the school. So we are working with the school. If there's no activities and we can get them out of there earlier, we will change those shifts to do that. But with schools having so many evening activities, we want to have someone there to clean up and make sure they get everything out of the building before they leave. So it really does depend on what the school has and the functions, but we are continually working with the principals on what those schedules need to be. And if we can move them to the earlier piece, we will absolutely do that. We have that authority to do that.
For hiring, at least as it relates to the 750, we did utilize principal input in addition to discipline history and attendance history when extending offers.
Yeah, but I guess my question is about more than just principal input. If these custodians are going to be at their schools and part of their communities, why aren't they more in charge of the hiring process with CPS input?
We can follow up with you on that.
Thank you.
Member Boyle.
Yeah, my question is, can be answered later. But I understand that there was a process for schools to appeal both, I think, the number of custodians and the scheduling of the custodians. For example, if a school wanted to have some overlap in the hours, not a lot of overlap, but let's say they wanted, somebody to come in a little earlier and leave a little earlier instead of like I was hearing 11:30. I don't know if I'm wrong, but is there like a spreadsheet or something that we could see for the number of appeals that were submitted and the responses?
We can follow up with you.
Thank you.
Thank you for your presentation.
President Harden, the next presentation will be Charter and Contract School Updates by Chief Portfolio Officer Alfonso Carmona and his team.
In my script, I have good morning, but I guess now is good evening. Today's presentation is slightly different than the previous two presentations, as we also have, this presentation includes two items on the agenda for the board meeting on October 23rd, items 14 and item 15. So we're going to treat them slightly separately. So, I have the clicker, so I can't even say next slide. Today's presentation again highlights the present challenges that we have in our portfolio of charter schools, particularly when we're trying to balance our commitment to every single one of our students, their families, and fiscal responsibility. The presentation highlights three present challenges with that portfolio: financial instability, declining enrollment, and the complex operational demands of school transitions. Our recommendations for today are grounded in a comprehensive analysis of the legal, financial, and operational realities we currently face. Charter schools operate under fundamentally different structures than district-managed schools. It is legally and operationally not possible to absorb a charter school whole into the CPS portfolio. The process is, in fact, a dissolution of the charter entity that is governed by Article 27A of the Illinois School Code, and the creation of a new district-managed school, which is governed by Article 34. I wanted to make an emphasis on the fundamental conflicts that exist with this particular transition. Charter schools and the governance and the governing laws, charter schools have legal autonomy and some exceptions from the Illinois School Code. Whether it's graduation requirements, whether it's curriculum, they are not governed by an LSC or regulated by an LSC, and they can establish their own length of school day and school year. In terms of staffing, CPS have very strict licensure and residency requirements, as well as a collective bargaining that does not match the collective bargaining that charter schools have. As a result of that, tenure rules, there are specific requirements in their individual CBAs, and each one of these organizations have their own HR policies. And in terms of governance, as you know, charter schools are run by their own independent nonprofit boards, and a transition to a CPS school dissolves that structure and brings the school under CPS management, under your management as the Chicago Board of Education. Hence, the fact that their autonomy given to them under Article 27A disappears, and the school had to comply with all CPS policies. As I mentioned before, we bring to you two specific items: EPIC Academy, which is item number 14 on your agenda, and Child Arts, which is item 15 on your agenda. I'm going to pass it to Rochelle Washington, Director of Accountability, to introduce the first item.
Thank you so much, Chief Carmona, and good evening, board members. So let's talk a bit about what occurred with EPIC since the Chicago Board of Education renewed their contract in May of 2025. Back in May, the board approved a 2-year renewal for EPIC. Renewal and annual accountability criteria are based on audited figures, which are in arrears. EPIC's renewal was based on FY23 and FY24 financial performance. In FY23, they received a rating of exceed standards on all 4 key indicators of financial health, and in FY24, received a rating of exceed standards in 1 and a rating of meet standards in the other 3. This performance resulted in an overall rating of meet standards for financial performance based on the established renewal criteria. It's important to understand not only the impact of declining enrollment on school revenue, but also the district's decisions regarding how enrollment is utilized in its funding methodology. Before FY26, CPS used a hold harmless funding approach for schools. Under this method, schools received funding based on the higher enrollment figure from either the current or the previous school year, helping schools manage the impact of declining enrollment. This methodology helped EPIC withstand its severe loss of enrollment of 280 students in 5 years. In FY24, for example, EPIC was funded at 324 students, despite its 20th day enrollment of 270 students. In addition, in FY24, schools were still receiving the tail end of ESSER funding, which added nearly $300,000 of additional revenue for the school in that year. Moving into FY25, EPIC submitted an initial budget to us, which, while projected an operational deficit for the year, still anticipated closing the year with a positive fund balance of over $1 million, which raised us little concern in our initial review of budget projections, as we assumed that EPIC did have the funding to withstand the loss of enrollment. Through our renewal-related discussions with EPIC, we learned of several strategies it attempted to secure the viability of the school. EPIC had hoped the new school facility build would boost enrollment and secure an expansion grant reimbursement. However, ongoing financial challenges left them without enough time to close the budget gap and turn things around. A few of their strategies was the first around the sale of the current property. This property is about $2 million in value. So EPIC decided to abandon the new school build to sell that property to receive enough revenue to last them through the renewal term of 2 years. They listed this property in June of 2025. However, it's still in the pre-construction phase, and they have yet to receive an offer for that property. EPIC also explored merging with another charter operator who declined that offer, and that merge did not materialize. Also, as shared, EPIC was expecting to receive additional funding by way of an economic opportunity grant of about $2 million, as well as additional funding that we provide to charter schools that are housed in independent facilities. However, in terms of the grants, they were unsure as to when those funds would be dispersed and if they would be affected by the decision to abandon that new school project. With these strategies, EPIC originally planned for a longer phase out to provide more notice to students and families, where the school would operate through its renewal term length of 2 years and just not seek renewal when the contract ended on June 30th, 2027. However, due to the inability to secure additional funding through partnerships, grants, and the sale of the purchased property, the date by which they needed to cease operations was accelerated to the end of this school year, June 30th, 2026. I'll now pass it to Deputy Chief Conrad Timbers to discuss the recommendation for EPIC Academy.
Good evening to everyone. Good evening, board members. Good evening, CEO King. Our recommendation for Epic Academy is that the board provide temporary financial support to enable Epic Academy to continue through the school year 25-26. And secondly, not to take action to transition Epic Academy into a district-managed school and proceed with the historical structured wind down and transition students into other district-managed or charter schools. Next, I would like to talk about Shy Arts and our recommendations for board approval. Shy Arts is not financially viable and faces a projected deficit of over $1 million with no financial reserves. While the district has provided $1.4 million in temporary relief for school year 26, there is no secure financial relief for school year 27. While our internal feasibility assessment does not recommend converting Shy Arts into a district-run school due to financial and operational challenges, the option of transitioning the school to full district management is still possible, but needs to be carefully considered as it will require an additional financial commitment from the district. And with that, I would turn it over to Chief Carmona.
So for item 15, what we are recommending, and this is a joint recommendation with the Department of Arts, we are recommending to transition Shy Arts as a CPS managed fine and performing arts high school while reimagining the conservatory as a citywide program that prioritizes the students attending Shy Arts and available to other students across the city of Chicago. Why do we bring these items to you today, and why the importance of those two items? Again, item 14, and to summarize it, to approve that temporary financial support to prevent any abrupt changes or ending the school year for EPIC so that the students that are attending EPIC Academy today can continue it until the end of this particular school year, and then transition the students to district schools or charter schools for the 26-27 school year, as well as the transition of Shy Arts as a district managed school with a conservatory that will be a citywide conservatory. And the importance of bringing these items to you for board action in October 23rd is because it has implication in the Go CPS application process that closes on November 14th. If the board takes action on October 23rd and give us direction on which way to go with these two items, we will be able to communicate to families so that they can actually make whatever changes they decide to make in the Go CPS process and re-rank schools if they decide to do so, depending on the actions that the board takes on October 23rd. And with this, I open for questions.
Chief Carmona, is the $7.3 million on the Shy Art tag, is that an annual cost?
That's the operational cost. That's what it costs to operate the academic section of Shy Arts.
So then if we add the 2.5, we're looking at a $10.2 million annually?
Yeah, about $9.5 million annually. But I want to clarify one piece, and is that the first figure is the operational component of Shy Arts in terms of the academic piece. The second component, the $2.5 million, is the conservatory, which is a complete different separate process.
For sure.
Member Pope.
Yeah, would I be correct in following up on Board Member Gutierrez's question. We are currently spending money on Shy Arts already. So it's not like it's 10 million totally new dollars, because that would be partly offset by what we are already spending to provide them with the 97 to 103, right?
You're absolutely correct. So the operational cost will be basically exactly the same, very similar in terms of operating the school. The difference is the foundation right now is raising the funds for the conservatory. That will be our responsibility now to raise that funding.
Okay, so basically the difference is the cost of the conservatory at this point.
To run in the conservatory, and you heard the
Okay.
families this morning speaking about the conservatory and the impact that has on our students. Our intention, and this is an idea from the arts team, is to expand it to other students across the city, not only the students attending Shy Arts.
I like that idea, because obviously, even though Shy Arts has made a significant effort to recruit a diverse student body, it's not fully reflective of the district as a whole. And there are, of course, many children, particularly from lower income families, who haven't had the opportunity to do the preparation that might lead them to have the skills to audition into Shy Arts, particularly, if you were an instrumentalist or something like that. So that's great. My other question that I wanted to ask, and I know it's cheating to get a twofer, but is, do you have a proposal for EPIC in terms of how to keep the school community and the families together? Because that clearly was something that was extremely important to people when it was raised, when they talked to us today.
We are working on that proposal, and we actually had a great conversation with CTU yesterday to collaborate and create something very strong to ensure that the vast majority of the students either go to one school or stay as close together as possible. We have some options that we would like to explore. This is why it's so important to make the decision this month, so we can actually make those processes easier. And let me clarify one piece in terms of the GO CPS. The GO CPS is only for incoming 9th graders. There's confusion here. The GO CPS is not for students that are currently at EPIC or Shy Arts. The students that are currently at EPIC or Shy Arts, those students will have to transfer out of the school. Transfer processes are not handled through GO CPS. So when it comes to transfer, we have tons of flexibility, and there's no deadlines when it comes to the transfer of the students of EPIC. So we have more flexibility to do those transitions with them.
Member Blaze.
I just wanted to say thank you so much for coming up with what I think is a great option for Shy Arts. I think they are a gem in the portfolio. I think a conservatory, CPS having its own conservatory is critical, and I hope we can expand it. And I hope, again, as my fellow board members were saying, that more folks get access. The kids were here, they were passionate, they were just, and everybody seemed to be clear that the leadership there had been struggling for quite some time. So hopefully with the right accountability and management, we can get them up and running. My kids were going to the People's Music School 3 times a week, so I was picking them up from school and driving all over, and it would be wonderful for kids. And if we can figure out how to figure out more music, more arts, figure out how to make this part of the STEAM education, it's really important. It helps. You can hear from the kids. It helps level set. And I'll stop talking, Sean. I know we're trying to get out of here. It helps level set on so many different levels, socially and academically. So thank you so much for all your hard work on that.
Thank you. Member Bennett.
Chief, some of the comments we heard today from public were about communication and sharing information with the community. Can you talk about what's been shared already, how it's been shared, and whether there's any plans? I know there's a deadline as far as Go CPS goes, but what are your plans to engage with the community to get their feedback and help round out this plan?
Thank you for that question. One piece that we did is we actually sent communication to families about Shy Arts and even EPIC before either one of those 2 organizations sent any communication to the families. So we were the first ones to connect to families for them to understand the transitions that were happening. And what comes next is once you make a decision, and these 2 items are item 14 and 15, we immediately want to do town hall meetings with families to start the processes, depending on what decisions the board made. But our goal is to secure, when we start the incubation process, to start the incubation process right away on October 24th, once you take the vote on the 23rd. And when it comes to the transition of students from EPIC, if that's the direction the board goes, will be the same. We'll probably try to schedule a town hall with both communities right away, whether it's that week or the week after, to start the process.
I think that process is a little backwards. We should hear from the community before the board votes.
Yeah.
We should hear from the community regarding which specific piece. I want to hear a little bit more on that.
The whole, all the recommendations. We need to get some feedback from the community on what they think about this plan. We need to involve the community in these changes. I know some of this has been dropped on you suddenly, but we need to find some space in the process for the community to have some feedback. In my opinion.
Okay, I'm struggling a little bit with it because this is part of governance in terms of you making a decision on what needs to happen with this particular school. I understand the component of engagement, but I'm having a hard time understanding how we'll come to a community and the community will say that they want the school to be closed. Nobody wants their schools to be closed. We need to understand that the different items in this, we had this situation with Acero families. I think we need to come to those families with solutions, and those solutions can only be given by the governing body, which is the Board of Education.
Member Boyle.
Can you tell me the cost for keeping EPIC open through June? What is that?
Yes, that cost of the assistant would be about $1.4 million.
Member Brown.
Yes, sir. I agree with Board Member Bannon. This is not an easy situation. I think, so in the case of the families from EPIC, what we've heard is that they were not informed that the bomb was dropped on them, right? And so they said, can we go to South Shore? So that was an alternative that people in the community organized and said and brought it to the district. Now, I think one concern that I have is the difficulty of the teachers following the young people into that school. So if they end up going into the South Shore building and then they have to adjust to a completely different teaching staff, as if it was a turnaround school or something, then in essence, that's a school closing. And the University of Chicago's own research says that whenever a school closes, a child loses 6 months to a year in their academic development. So we should not be co-signing any actions like that that put children in those types of circumstances. So I'm concerned about that. But I think, and when we were talking earlier, we were talking about different ideologies. This is what I'm talking about. There's a belief system that says we should go to communities with what we want to do to them, as opposed to learning from community wisdom, finding out how does this, what is the, okay, this is the situation. We're not able to keep this school open. What do you suggest? And then begin to build partnerships with people, as opposed to having folks basically in a state of colonialism because they have no control over the institutions that impact their lives.
So,
and so I just, yeah, so I'll stop there.
Yeah, let me try to address a complex question. 100% agree with you in terms of engagement. And for those of you that were here on the board, we did extensive engagement in situations like Falconer, Kelvin Park. And we had hundreds and thousands of entries before we make a decision. But we're confronting a different reality here. This is a charter school that have decided to self-close. Yes, so the decision for the board is to either maintain the school or close the school. So in terms of that, I don't need necessarily input from the families. What you're talking about is a completely different conversation in terms of where to go once the board makes a decision. So once the board makes the decision, if you decide to transition the school as a district managed school, speaking about Epic, then there's not much conversation with the family, the school stays there. If you decide to not transition the school, then we come to the families, and then that's when we bring the plethora of options of schools that have seats available, including South Shore. So again, we go to the families with a solution. There is no big plan here because we only have two options when it comes to Epic. We either accept the fact that the school is closing, or we transition the school as a district managed school. Our recommendation, which is what we presented in item 14, is not to transition the school as a district managed school and transition the students. The board still can change that recommendation and make a decision to transition the school as a CPS school.
Okay. Member Smith.
Thank you, Mr. President. Because those schools are in my district, I communicate with those leaders regularly and the community regularly I engage with. The question I have is about the transition. You have 4 schools in that area. You have Baker, which is a charter school. You have Bowen, which is the school that Go CPS, when they go to 9th grade, tells them you're automatically enrolled in this school. And a lot of students, as said by our honorary school board member, don't even know that Epic was a choice that they had because it was hard to navigate the system, which is the reason that we see the year-by-year lower enrollment numbers in Epic and other charter schools. You have Bowen, you have Epic, you have CVS, CVC, I say CVS, and you have South Shore. Is Baker being spoken to as a possible transition school? If we're speaking to CVS, if we're speaking to Bowen and South Shore, are we also speaking to the charter school in the area about taking some of the students?
We will be speaking with every single school that has seats available for our students.
Thank you.
Member Lopez.
Thank you, Board President. And honestly, it breaks my heart that we're having this conversation again, now impacting different parts of the city. I agree with Board Member, also Ed Bennett, regarding community engagement and meaningful engagement, right? Of what does that look like? How do we get input? Also without overpromising to the community, right? We don't want to overpromise and not be able to deliver, but we also want to keep them engaged and updated on this. I also understand this is something, again, that it was just pretty much pushed on to you and now to us to deal with. But I would like to see what's the plan of the engagement for the families, not just with Epic, Shy Arts, and also as it pertains, it's not on the agenda today, but also the Acero schools. And regarding the financial situation, as we were going over the timeline, right? And now this falls on this board because we voted to approve the recommended 2-year in May. And fast forward a few months later, now we are hearing this notice from their board. It's certainly from one day to another, like it makes no sense. In a way, I feel like there was information either not shared with us, not honesty, no transparency. This is not a business. We cannot just put a sign on the door, say we're closed, that's it, or file bankruptcy like the president from the United States has done so many times with his businesses. That's not what we do here, right? Because there are long-term impacts in our community. So just looking and more thinking, what processes that are not working, what do we need to address, and also getting that transparency from when we are doing these renewals. The question I have as it pertains to Shaya Arts, I believe there is a foundation. So who oversees that foundation? I'm just thinking worst case scenario, we don't have control. They ran away with the money in that foundation and our students are left without those funds. What protocols are put in place?
Let me address first the first part of Epic and transparency. I believe this board was provided with every single document that we were provided with, and we did an analysis based on those documents. So I want to make sure that it's clear that our team has studied every single item given to us by Epic. But when we think about projections, Also want to clarify, all of these documents were ready in January for approval. It took from January to May to make a decision in terms of approving the charter schools' recommendations. So every single item that we analyzed was from the 23-24 school year. You heard her presentation, most of the items and the deficiencies that happened, whether because we did not keep them harmless anymore or because they did not have the ESSER funding anymore, then the projections, of course, ended up being off because the revenue component was not necessarily there. So this is the same as me losing my job tomorrow and not being able to pay my mortgage. It's exactly the same. I know I'm simplifying it, but it's a little bit frustrating, I have to be honest, to hear the word transparency when every single document has been presented to the board, and there's hundreds of pages of reports that speak about those things. When we think about looking forward, what can we do differently? It's extremely hard to project what the revenues for a school, especially when schools are raising funding, and they're using that funding to support some items that are happening within the school. So that speaks also to the second item in terms of the foundation. I think there's a little bit of a confusion here. And Board Member Pope mentioned this part. We give Tri-Arts funding for the academic component. So when it comes to public funding, it's only funding the academic component. We are not funding the conservatory that happens in the afternoon. That is done through a foundation. I heard an analogy today. This is like friends off type of things. So that's not our funding. That is funding that Tri-Arts and that foundation has raised from that perspective. So when people talk about, can we recover that funding? I'll have to delegate to our legal counselor to do that part. We know for sure that we can recoup every single penny that has been given to Tri-Arts that are public funding, including any investment that they have made in that purchase of the building. If they sell the building, well, any proceeds from that building comes back to CPS. If they don't sell the building, most likely we'll take ownership of that building and we'll sell it at some point.
Thank you. And just to clarify, when I mentioned transparency, I didn't mean from I believe that limited information sometimes of the process that you receive, that's what's given to us. But in particular, because I keep thinking of, the renewal process. We were here, from community, from their board members here in asking us for a renewal, which we voted on. And then their board makes a decision just a few months later. Which is more questions that you're not able to answer because you don't sit in the board.
Correct. I think there's also another piece of clarification because we heard these questions about what happened with the resolution that established, for example, that charter schools cannot close at a given point, that they have to finish their term. Well, that only appears or happens if the charter schools sign the contract. At this point, none of the schools that went for renewal in May has signed their contract. Therefore, they are not bounded by that resolution. So I wanted to clarify that now that we are, in public, we can say that publicly that they are not bounded unless they signed the contract.
And that it's something, my understanding, that is per limitations of the state statute that provides in a way a loophole. It's the way money can be received, but without signing the contract.
You're absolutely right.
Thank you.
Member DeBerry.
Hi, Chief Carmona. Good to see you. I'm curious about finding other managers for both schools. They want to remain together with their teachers, with their curriculum, with their daily activities. And to my understanding, Chi-Arts would look quite differently under our management because they wouldn't be able to have professional artists teaching. Is that true?
All right, good afternoon, everyone. Cesar Torreya, Executive Director for Arts Education in the Office of Teaching and Learning. To answer your question, it's important that you looked at two different components for Chi-Arts, the academics and the conservatory. The conservatory, the easiest way you can compare it to is an out-of-school program. Those teaching artists are not certified teachers, and the students that are attending the conservatory are not earning credits towards graduation. And so it is important here to clarify that the conservatory serves as an extension of pre-professional training and arts education that students are getting during the academic day. Will it stay the same? The answer is like Chief Carmona mentioned at the beginning of his presentation, it is not operationally or legally possible to fully absorb a charter school, or in this case, a contract school, into our district. We will work with the community, we will work with the staff at Chi Arts, we'll work with our labor partners on ensuring that we are making a smooth transition in alignment with our district policies and standards.
So back to my first question, are we looking for, actively looking for other people to manage outside of us that will keep them healthy and whole?
And so for that, I will pass it to Chief Carmona.
No.
That is a question of basically making or converting these two schools into contract schools. So there will not be district managed schools, there will be contract school. If that's an option the board wants us to explore, we can start exploring that option. Again, that is extremely difficult to do, of finding somebody that could operate that school in that short period of time, both schools in that short period of time. But if the board wants us to look into that option, that's an option that we can start exploring at 7 p.m.
Member Rivas.
Thank you, Mr. President. Chief Carmona, thank you so much for all of your hard work on all of these issues. We've had many, many conversations on these things. I know this is incredibly difficult, and I completely understand your desire to have guidance from this board before disrupting many, many school communities. I do want to say I want to appreciate that. As others have said here, when I walked into Chi Arts on Friday last week, not a single person there said, let's close my school, right? And so I think if it was up to them, they'd keep it open. That's the same conversations I've had the many times that I visited Santiago. Not a single parent, student there has said, let's close my school. But there are realities in terms of what is possible for us to do, and we just need to be able to provide and work with community to understand what we can do together. And so to that end, I don't want to continue on or harp more on EPIC and Chi Arts. I do hope that as a board, we can come to a consensus on especially Chi Arts in my district and how much of a beautiful gem it is. I just have a question related to Santiago and making sure that we provide clarity to those families, because that sale could happen at any moment. And then we'll be again here next month and everyone complaining that they didn't know that the building was up for sale and didn't know that we had to provide a space for these school communities. So just following up on that, it is a high value property, and I'm scared that the Archdiocese of Chicago will go ahead and take those $6.75 million that they desperately need as well.
You will receive an update tomorrow in regards to that. As you remember, we presented in the 5x5s. We made a decision to not necessarily present today that item, because what we need from the difference between the three items technically is that for these two items that I'm presenting today, we need a vote in October. For the situation for Santiago and Cisneros, we don't need a vote yet. We need guidance. So we didn't want to put that in the floor, as this is agenda review item for items that are need action from the board. However, you will receive an update tomorrow on Santiago and Cisneros for you to provide us the guidance outside of this forum.
Thank you.
Member Zakor.
Thank you, President. Hi, Chief Carmona and group. My question is kind of related to Board Member DeBerry's question. I think it hasn't been always crystal clear to at least some of us board members, and certainly families from some of these schools, that the process of absorption really, they're not going to have their same school, that it's not operationally possible to have what they expected. But obviously we want to get as close to that as possible, right? So my question is whether there are elements of the absorption or transition process, or whatever it is that you're calling it, that that are policy rather than law, where the policy could be changed so that the resulting school is more like the school that it replaced.
There are elements of policy. I can send you a list of those of policy, but there's also elements of contractual obligations. For example, when you sign a CBA with CPAA, and there is a contractual obligation that principals need to be hired and they need to be on the principal's pool of eligibility. So for us to hire a principal of the school, that person, that individual not only have to have the type 75, which is the license with the state, but also must be eligible within CPS. So that creates a little bit of a conflict right there from the beginning. We also have a practice that states that principals, bless you. Hope it wasn't me. There's also a practice that exists within CPS in where principals get to hire the staff when we're opening a new school. As we spoke today, these are effectively new schools that we're opening. So this is why in the case of Acero, as somebody was mentioning in terms of engagement processes, the advisory group for each one of the Acero schools, which is composed mostly by parents and community reps, will be part of the selection process of those principals. They actually just received the slates of candidates this week. So we want to hire principals. The principal has to be on the list, and the principal can start the process of hiring the staff right away. So yes, there are policies that we need to take into consideration. In this particular case, I mentioned one, which is the policy in terms of eligibility for principals, and there are procedures that we currently have. So I'll send you a list that is a little bit more comprehensive of the different items that are obstacles that the board could potentially change in the future if that's the way to go.
Okay, I have Therese, Board Member Boyle.
Yeah. I want to make sure I understand. So part of the reason why we are moving quickly to make a decision on Chai Arts by October 23rd is because of the GO CPS application. So our current 8th graders have a chance to apply if they would like to attend a school like Chai Arts with a conservatory.
Yes, but also I want to emphasize that it's not just the incoming 9th graders, but also the current students and the families. They need clarity about what's going to happen to their schools. So that clarity can be provided as quickly as possible, as quickly as the board gives us direction in what to do next so that we can start that engagement process of next steps.
Okay, next we have Board Member Brown.
Yes, sir. Chief, I just wanted to get clarity around the families from Epic being able to having to reapply for their jobs. And that was, again, a concern because that basically means that young people have to adapt to a completely different teaching staff, and folks view that as just another way of closing a school, and the impacts of a school closing. And I talked about that earlier. I want to know how that decision was made. Is that decision final? Can that be adjusted? Can those teachers follow those young people to wherever they go? Because again, it wasn't the family's fault that this charter school operator did what it did, right? This school operator. So the families and the educators shouldn't have to suffer. And I think we should do all we can in the way we can to keep them whole.
Thank you for that question. We are currently working with CTU to get to an agreement to achieve what not only is in the resolution for Acero, for what we believe is the right thing to do, is to try to hire as many of those individuals. I want to clarify a couple of things. Some of those, especially for Epic, not so much for Chai Arts. We mentioned Chai Arts. All of the teachers at Chai Arts are certified teachers, but that's not the case for Epic. Not every single teacher and staff member at Epic is certified, so they cannot necessarily transfer directly into another school. But we're working right now with CTU negotiating that particular piece on how those transitions will work.
Can you keep us updated on the status of that?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Okay, I'm taking a final question now from Board Member Pope.
Sorry, so my question is a follow-up on the distinction between conservatory art teachers and regular academic teachers. So would my understanding be correct that the teaching artists who are currently working in the conservatory are sort of the same as After School Matters teachers or Gallery 37 teachers in the sense that they are able to teach our students but not grant credit since they are not certificated?
That is correct.
Thank you so much, Chief Carmona.
Thank you.
All right, we have a little bit of a change. The board members will now proceed with, we will proceed with potential board reports to be considered at the October 23rd, 2025 regular meeting. Board members, you'll have the opportunity to submit in writing to the board team your questions. And this is in consideration to the time constraints that we find ourselves in. I'll pass to you, Susan.
Thank you. Board members, we will begin with the following education items, numbers 1 through 3. We'll begin with item number 1. Authorize the new agreements for the purchase of physical education supplies and equipment with BSN Sports LLC and School Health Corporation.
1 second, I think there's a question.
Sorry, just for a clarification from our general counsel, do we need to do a vote if we're going to change the order of the agenda?
Well, this is a consideration. You could ask questions, but I'm asking to consider, because of our time constraints, to just move on to the next one. So we don't have to change the agenda. It's more about the situation that we find ourselves in right now. If you have a burning question, board member,
I'm just
please.
wondering if the order is changing.
No, the order is not changing.
Thank you.
No. It's just regarding the questions, and we want to be able to follow up in writing through our board staff for questions for the presenters. Please proceed.
Good evening, Board, Chicago Board of Education, CEO, Dr. King, and everyone in attendance. My name is Devon Morales, and I am the Executive Director of the Office of Sports Administration. And I am here recommending that the board renew at the December meeting, authorize a 3-year piggyback agreement with BSN Sports LLC, School Health Corporation for physical education equipment and supplies. October meeting. This is a continuation of the current agreement in place with these vendors. The district will continue to leverage competitive pricing and beneficial terms through this new piggyback agreement. This results in a large catalog of pre-negotiated items being available to the district. And here are some implications that have not approved, that happen if not approved. Schools and departments would not be able to purchase equipment that they need for physical education and for various sports programs throughout the district and within the schools. There is an equity focus. Every district school and department has the same equal access to the pre-qualified sports equipment vendors that have been vetted and offer competitive pricing. We also understand that all students will have access to quality apparel from these vendors. We plan to maximize student participation by this access. By the end of the first year, the partnership with BSN will provide equitable access to high-quality sports equipment, team apparel for every school, removing the key financial barrier to participation. This will be measured by a 15% increase in student enrollment in athletic programs across the district, ensuring that more students feel supported and included from the moment they begin their educational journey. And we're also fostering a culture of belonging. The 3-year contract will leverage the provision of custom team apparel to build a strong sense of identity, pride, and community within each school's athletic program. The goal is to measure a significant increase in student self-reported feelings of belonging, which is crucial protection factor that reduces social and emotional challenges and the need for future interventions. And there are also some key indicators. satisfaction surveys by schools, delivery lead time KPIs, customer service KPs, OBED hyphen ESG compliance, product availability and product price comparison. And here are some basic facts about the recommendations. BSN and School Health has a wide variety of physical education equipment and supplies and partnerships with major brands such as Nike, Adidas, Under Armour, Speedo to provide discounted pricing. In addition to the deep discounts and free shipping on all orders, BSN offers a 4% credit rebate to the Office of Sports Administration to assist with equitable purchases for the district. This is a 1% increase from the current rebate amount. School Health Corporation will offer a 13% discount on school health items and provide the shipping on orders free on orders that are $125 and above. In the previous contract, the incumbent vendors achieved an 8.89 MBE, which is not minority business enterprise percentage, and a 20.3 WBE, which is a women business enterprise. To help meet the MBE goals, BSN has added a new MBN vendor. So they use minority and women-led businesses to get apparel from. The Office of Business Enterprise Development and Environmental Social Governance is securing new plans with the vendors to increase MBE participation.
Thank you. We're going to move on to item number 2.
Authorize the second final renewal agreement with various vendors to provide out-of-school time and student health and wellness products and services.
Good evening. My name is Tara DiClemente. I use she, her pronouns. I am the Executive Director of the Office of Student Health and Wellness and currently serving as the Acting Executive Director of Nutrition Support Services.
And good evening. My name is Erica Robinson. I am the Senior Program Manager of Out of School Time and Mentoring in the Office of Student Support and Engagement. And we are recommending that the board authorize the approval of the second and final renewal of the Out of School Time and Student Health and Wellness products and services at the board meeting on October 23rd, 2025. Our vendor pool provides schools access to specialized high-quality out-of-school time programming and health and wellness in the amount not to exceed $16 million, which is a level funding from the previous renewal. The term of the contract we're asking for is from January 1st of 2026 to December 31st of 2026. The vendors were selected via a competitive RFQ process. We are asking to maintain the level funding with the historical spend of $14,142,743 during the FY25 school year. And I will turn it back over to Tara.
If this renewal is not approved, schools will not have access to partners to provide strategic out-of-school time and health and wellness programs. These programs provide a wide range of services such as academic enrichment, tutoring, as well as health and wellness programs such as nutrition education, healthy cooking classes, school garden support, physical activity, and recess support for schools, all of which have shown to positively impact student outcomes. The Vision Connection aligns with the district's whole child model and to the connectedness and well-being priority in the district's 5-year plan. The renewal of this agreement will ensure equity in providing students with access to out-of-school time programs which help to enhance their academic, social, emotional, and health and wellness. Our equity focus is using the dimension of resource equity. We aim to ensure that every CPS student has the opportunity to participate in high-quality out-of-school time programs that support academic achievement, social-emotional well-being, and eliminate health-related barriers to learning. Our goal is to support, provide equitable funding, and empower schools to implement a targeted universal approach. And this equity-focused approach will ensure students furthest away from the out-of-school program opportunities can access and participate in them. We use the following data to inform this: the school's priority index and 20th day attendance. The Office of Student Support and Engagement and the Office of Student Health and Wellness collaborated on the updates to this renewal.
Thank you so much. We'll move on to item number 3.
Approve application for school code waiver regarding physical education.
Good evening, Board and CEO King. My name is Brandon Hughes. I'm the Director of Physical Education and Health out of the Office of Teaching and Learning. We are recommending that the Board authorize a request to waive the ISB Code 105 ILC. This request allows students in kindergartens through 8th grade to participate in physical education for 2 days instead of the 3 days. Changing this minimum physical education requirement is for public approval in the October Board and final approval in the December Board. Currently, the code mandates that students participate in physical education for at least 3 days each 5-day week, using blocks, if it's on a block schedule, for a total of 120 minutes. Now, I want to stress, we're not trying to take away the 120 minutes. We're just trying to reduce the days. The rationale for this change is that the district is experiencing barriers such as scheduling constraints as well as facility limitations. We're looking for this to go into effect school year 2027. There are no financial implications. And how it aligns to our equity, we try to, as it addresses equity, we want to ensure that all schools, regardless of their access to gyms or open spaces, can schedule physical education in a safe manner. And we're always looking at a safety precautionary. We have some schools that use other areas to have PE, and that can be a liability, depending on everything. So that's why we're stressing this and trying to just reduce that day and to make sure that we have it on record with ISB, because it can lead to like legal ramifications by us not being in compliance. But we are in compliance with the 120 minutes. It's just the actual 3 days a week.
Thank you so much for your presentation. Can you repeat your name, please?
It's Brandon Hughes.
Thank you.
Board members, the following health and wellness item number 4 is no longer being presented at the October 23rd, 2025 board meeting and is moving to the December 18th, 2025 board meeting. We'll now continue with the following information and technology items, numbers 5 through 8. I will read titles for item number 5 through 7, and the subject matter expert will present on those 3 items. Item 5, amend staff acceptable use policy. Item 6, amend student acceptable use policy. 7, rescind internet safety.
Good evening, board members and CEO Dr. King. My name is Ed Wagner, and I'm the acting Chief Information Officer for Information and Technology Services. We recommend that the board authorize the amendment of the staff and student acceptable use policies and the rescission of the internet safety policy. The 3 policies are closely related, so I'll address them all together. The staff and student acceptable use policies, commonly known as the staff and student AUPs, both establish and govern the standards for acceptable electronic activity and communication between students and staff and other adults who work in the district, such as consultants and volunteers. The staff AUP sets the standard for staff and other adults utilizing the district technology and systems. The student AUP sets the standards for all students, including recent graduates who are within 1 year of their graduation date. The internet safety policy is a standalone technology policy, the components of which are incorporated into the student AUP as standard guidelines. These policies were last updated in 2019 and are in need of updates. Necessary updates include better alignment with CPS's reporting abuse, neglect, and inappropriate relations between adults and students policy, introducing guidance for the acceptable use of artificial intelligence, and formatting changes to better align unacceptable use of technology into categories so they're easier to understand. These revisions, in conjunction with the unchanged core standards, help CPS stay compliant with federal regulations, such as the Children's Internet Protection Act and Family Education Rights and Privacy Act, also referred to as SIPA and FERPA respectively. Compliance with regulations helps CPS avoid financial and legal implications pertaining to protecting students from inappropriate online content and protecting staff, students, and their families from data breaches. The primary focus of the standalone internet safety policy is on SIPA compliance. However, the more comprehensive student AUP contains the necessary compliance standards and guidelines, so ITS recommends the rescission of that policy. Reducing the number of technology use standards from 3 policies to 2 makes it easier for everyone to understand their roles and responsibilities when using district or school technology, the internet, data, network system, applications, and infrastructure. Amending the AUPs and rescinding the internet safety policy supports the district's commitment to the connectedness and well-being of our staff and students. It also promotes equity. All staff and students have a respective single policy that outlines technology use standards, and all staff and students are held to those same respective standards. To ensure engagement with business stakeholders beyond the Equity Office, Office of Student Health and Wellness, Law, and Family and Community Engagement, normally included in the biannual policy reviews, ITS formed an AUP review committee with representatives from the Department of Curriculum, Instruction and Digital Learning, Office of Finance, College and Career Success, Office of Student Protections, and subject matter experts from within ITS, including representation for artificial intelligence, network services, cybersecurity, asset management, and identity and access management. Additional business units such as the Office of Communications and the Office of Inspector Generals were also engaged to ensure specific areas of the staff AUP were still relevant from their point of view. We also received feedback from Student Advisory Council, members of the parent advisory groups, and the Principal Advisory Council. The AUP Review Committee also compared CPS's policy to similar policies from the 4 largest school districts in the nation to ensure our policies weren't missing anything. We received 1 comment during the public comment period that was submitted for all 3 policies. ITS reconvened the AUP committee to review the feedback, and as a result, we included stronger language in the policies to ensure protection of staff and students against potential AI-related threats. We added Discord as one of the named social media platforms in the definition and verified the language was broad enough to include any new platforms that may be launched before the next policy review. And we included language for CPS to develop a K-12 digital citizenship and AI literacy curriculum. Additionally, ITS plans to translate both policies into the top 6 languages other than English spoken by CPS's families. ITS is also partnering with marketing to ensure a copy of the student AUP in 6 languages is included in the back to school packet beginning in school year 26-27. Finally, ITS is also looking into how to best develop and deliver age-appropriate student AUP training. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. Item number 8, authorize a new agreement with CDW Government LLC.
Good evening, everybody. Good evening, board. Good evening, Dr. King. My name is Paul Valente, Facility Automation Architect for Chicago Public Schools. I'm here to bring forth the ask to authorize a new contract with CDWG for the purpose of live inventory management and related services for all schools, network offices, central office, and satellite offices. We recommend proceeding with this agreement as it will provide a system, the services, and the process to modernize our physical asset inventory process to use and leverage the RFID tags that are currently employed on our fixed assets. So that way we have automatic scanning of all of those fixed assets as they enter and leave the building. Enter and leave any of the CPS-owned locations to be in compliance with the outcomes of an OIG report on device count from a number of years ago. The implications, if the agreement is not approved Without this agreement, the district would have in place no automated way for determining locationality and/or device counts of the individual business units, and will rely solely on staff and school-based staff and contractual services to do a yearly just-in-time device count to provide their audits. For those of you who have worked in CPS schools, myself included, I was a tech coordinator many, many years ago. I was tasked with doing the fixed asset inventory update for the entire school. That was many weeks of time of going through the entire building, finding, inventorying, updating all of these particular devices. So I would have really loved to have had this service when I was that TechCo, because then it would automatically count the devices for me as I enter and leave. Sorry for that. I just wanted to give the personal aside. The equity focus here, this is for resource equity. This is to ensure that every school, department, and other business unit has accurate and up-to-date inventory of all of their fixed assets in the building and be compliant with our the OIG report recommendations. We have the Vision Connection, which is to 21st century learning environment and helping that forward. And then a couple of additional points for recommendation. This provides the ability to acquire the automated inventory technology and the related services and services from a board authorized reseller for schools to leverage this within enterprise connected systems. So this would work throughout all of our CPS locations. This provides the ability to acquire such technology from a consistent reseller in order to leverage the economies of scale for large scale volumes of discounts for the technology and services. CDW, the proposed vendor, has partnered with Zebra Technologies as an industry leader in RFID technologies in the world. And before we began the journey of going out for a solicitation, we partnered with Gartner to do a market analysis. Zebra Technologies is the Magic Quadrant leader in this space across the world. And then both CDW and Zebra are local to the Chicagoland area, leveraging local MIBI labor for this project. We have the term for the contract. It's going to be it's going to be 3-year with 2 1-year renewals. So it's and then we are looking at 52% addressable spend across MIBI and WEBI things. So it's much higher than the typical targets that we aspire for. So with that, I will conclude. See if you have any questions.
I promise a quick.
Yeah, no, that's
quick
fine.
question.
Please go ahead.
Any explanation why we didn't go with the lowest bid on this contract?
This is the lowest bid. Oh, sorry. Sorry.
Yeah. So there was a bid that was lower, but in your write-up, it should clearly state right after that we didn't feel that response was correct. So that one was kind of eliminated from consideration.
So you wanted the lowest responsible bid?
Yeah,
Okay.
the most responsible bill.
Gotcha.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I have Board Member Lopez.
Thank you, Vice President. Just to make sure I am understanding, this service, it's to scan when inventory are coming physically into the building, certain buildings, and
Yeah.
when they're coming out? Okay.
Any device with a RFID tag. So if you have your CPS issued machines, you'll see the bubble tag that's on there. That has an RFID tag in there. So as it enters and leaves the building, it will scan those.
Can you just talk about, given with this vendor and in any other vendors, the policy that we have in place that they do not share that information with any other agency, whether it be at the federal level, government? The concern here, of course, what's happening that this information might be sold on to other agencies where they can track, what is a good time to hit the building or be outside with, a truck just waiting to ask people for documents.
Sure. That would be a question for our legal team. But
Yeah, so many of that is governed by our contracts, and that's standard language that our intellectual property and our data is our data, and cannot be shared with anybody else. So the contract governs that.
Board Member Custer.
My understanding was those ID tags, those RFP ID tags don't actually track where the device goes outside the building, just that they are in or out of the building. So there's no tracking system beyond the building itself. It's just whether or not it enters the building. And my understanding also is that with this technology and these codes and things like that, we can attach them to more than just our digital devices. If we have, you know, equipment in a building that is worth a lot of money, we can also put these on some of those other things so that things going in and out of a building are tracked if they are stolen or something like that. Now, they can't be tracked once they're stolen based on the technology here, but we know if something's left the building, like any of our maintenance equipment or anything like that, if I'm not mistaken. So these are useful in more than just a technology sense.
Correct. Yes, there are multiple verticals within central office that is looking at adopting this technology. Facility operations is one of the key ones. There might be something like safety and security as well, but there are a number of different avenues. The idea here is once we implement the scanning technology, in facilities case, for instance, we would use that for tool tracking. So they have very expensive things called a man lift, for instance, a big piece of equipment that lifts people up and down. You know, being able to see when that enters and leaves the buildings or the areas that they're governed around. This will also provide the contract for if we need to put the technology further into buildings, such as like the hangar, that the airplane hangar where they have a lot of storage of this equipment. There might be multiple places like a tool crib room or things of that nature.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Those are all our questions.
Thank you.
Board members, we will continue with the following law item number 9, amend ownership of intellectual property policy.
Good evening, board members and CEO Dr. King. My name is Paulina Munoz. I'm a Senior Assistant General Counsel in the Transactions Unit of the Law Department. We are recommending the board to amend the ownership of intellectual property policy. This update is part of the board's biennial policy review process. It's necessary because the IP policy amendment updates outdated references to board rules and provides clearer guidance on CPS employees regarding IP ownership. It details the legal copyright doctrine works for hire and gives specific examples to how it applies in an educational work setting. The updated policy language aligns with our current contract provisions and regarding IP ownership and our confidential information across our vendor agreements. These revisions are necessary to improve clarity, ensure consistency across agreements, and align the policy with current legal standards. My colleague will discuss stakeholder engagement, public comment, and equity framework.
Good evening. My name is Shining Yang, and I'm Assistant General Counsel in the Transaction Unit of the Law Department. We engage with various stakeholders, including the Department of Curriculum, Instruction, and Digital Learning, Arts Department, and the School Law Unit and Labor Relation Unit in the Law Department. These discussions informed key updates to the policy, ensuring that this policy is clear, legally sound, and aligned with the practical reality of day-to-day operations. We recognize the importance of clarifying how the legal term apply in real-life settings, so our staff can better understand whether and how their work may be affected by this policy. This revised policy also reflects CPS acknowledgement that staff creativity and collaborations are essential to driving innovation. This policy supports the goals of CPS equity framework, especially in the area of fair policies and systems, by promoting greater transparency and consistency. It benefits both CPS staff and vendors seeking to partner with the district. The public comment period for this proposed policy concluded on September 29th, and we received one comment. The proposed revision remained unchanged following this public comment period, as the current proposed policy fully adheres to the established IP ownership law and the common practice. The current policy also safeguards the board's core interests while maintaining flexibilities to address unique situations as they arise. And we welcome any questions you may have.
I see none. Thank you very much.
Board members, we will continue with the following facilities. Item number 10, authorize the first and second final renewal agreement with Train US Inc.
Good evening again, board members and Dr. King. Caleb Rayberg, Director of Facilities Management Operations. We are recommending authorization for the first and second renewal options with Train US Incorporated for the purchase and rental of heavy equipment. The renewal period is for 3 years from January 1st, 2026 through December 31st, 2029. The not to exceed board authority is 3.6 million. The goals will continue to be 30% and 70% for MBE and WBE. Historical spend had 10% addressable spend between those two groups. This contract supports our proactive maintenance strategy, extending asset life, reducing costly repairs, and ensuring healthy learning environments through consistent HVAC performance. This work is supporting modern, efficient, healthy, and equitable facilities that are foundational to CPS's vision for 21st learning environments. If this agreement is not approved, we will utilize other procurement avenues such as our various trades pool or the general contractors pool to do similar work at a higher fee. Thank you for your consideration for this item.
Seeing no questions, we can move on.
Board members, we will continue with the following capital items, numbers 11 through 13, and begin with item 11. Authorize the pre-qualification status of and new agreements with various vendors to provide design build contracting services.
Good evening, board members and Dr. King. My name is Brian Zitter. I am the Director of New Construction with the Department of Capital and Facility Operations. I am pleased and excited to be here with you today to introduce item 11, which authorizes the pre-qualification status of and new agreements with various vendors to provide design build contracting services. This is a significant and transformative recommendation to authorize the pre-qualification status of new agreements with 18 vendors to provide design build construction services. This recommendation represents a culmination of a process that has taken over a year to develop, and we believe it's a historic step for the district. The Illinois statute 105 ILS C S 5-15A was amended in January 2024 to permit the design build construction procurement method in K through 12 districts. We believe that we are the first district in Illinois not only to propose offering this delivery method, but will also be the first to roll out the program and identify projects. The design build delivery method is one of 4 primary construction delivery methods. What makes it unique that it combines design and construction into one single step. This offers unique advantages that will perfectly complement our existing construction methods, which includes traditional design bid build, and job order contracting methods, JOC. The potential services under these agreements are broad, including but not limited to design, construction, materials, supplies, supervision, labor, and equipment. We recommend authorizing new agreements with 18 pre-qualified vendors. These vendors represent a wide range of experience, specialties, and depth of construction resources that are well suited to the wide range and complexity of our capital program. All 18 vendors received passing ratings by meeting and exceeding the evaluation criteria in the RFQ solicitation process. 6 of these vendors are MBE firms. The pricing for future projects shall be determined via competitive requests for technical and cost proposals as stipulated in the Illinois statute. Implementing the new design build pool of vendors will be a powerful new tool that will enhance the efficiency and effectiveness of delivering the district's large and complex capital improvement plan. Specifically, this is expected to result in schedule and cost efficiency in the completion of time-sensitive capital projects. This is directly connected to our vision for 21st century learning, as it strengthens our ability to modernize facilities and provide safe, high-quality learning environments. Furthermore, it supports our equity focus by ensuring consistency of renovation and construction work throughout the district. As pioneers in implementing this powerful new procurement method under the revised statute, we stand ready to be a resource for our peers, school districts across Illinois. Our Department of Capital Facility and Operations, along with other departments, procurement and law, are committed to sharing the insights, experience, and comprehensive framework developed during the process. We will be sure to offer assistance and guidance to any district seeking to establish its own effective design, build, delivery method, ensuring that this is innovative approach to project efficiency benefits students and communities statewide.
Seeing no questions, I think we're okay to move on.
Item
Or do
number,
we have a question? Are you sure? Okay.
Yeah, I'm just, what do you build? I mean, this is like a lot of explanation, but what is it? I mean, everything?
So design build is a delivery method. So there's 4 delivery methods. You have CM at risk, design bid build, which we currently use, and job order contracting services. And so we can use a wide range for design build to build what is proposed in the capital plan. So it's not just for new construction. It can also be for renovation. It could be a range of play lots, multiple play lots. It can be for roof construction or for green schools initiatives.
Thank you.
item number 12, amend agreement with various vendors for furniture, accessories, and related design, reconfiguration, and repair services.
Good evening. My name is Vinua Dai. I'm the Executive Director for Capital Planning and Construction, and we would like to authorize the amendment to the piggyback agreements to add 5 additional vendors to provide furniture and related accessory services. We currently have a piggyback agreement with 5. This would increase our vendor pool to 10. This pool of furniture vendors provide various furniture, accessories, and related services, design, reconfiguration, and repair services, including white glove delivery, installation, and disposal of packaging material to the Department of Capital Planning Construction, but also to facilities, OSD, early childhood, and other departments within the district, as well as all of the schools. As different vendors specialize in different categories of furniture, these newly added vendors cover gaps in the types of furniture that are available currently contracted vendors, providing the district with a deeper and more complete portfolio of choices. So specifically, this is for all elementary and high schools, for cafeteria furniture, mostly specialty furniture, library and media centers, fine and performing arts furniture, pre-K schools and classroom furniture, as well as administrative, district, and network furniture. The board authority for this particular contract is remaining the same. It just is adding 5 additional vendors to the current contract, which expires in 2026. One of the 5 that we are adding is an MBE vendor, and again, the term does not change. It's just extending it. Well, it goes until October 31st of 2026. And then at that time, we will have 2 options to renew. These vendors were selected via competitive solicitation process pursuant to the request for proposals issued by various government entities or consortiums. This contract has an M&WBE goal of 30 and 7% spend with an addressable spend of 10%. Past performance of the pool vendors has been satisfactory, and the requested board authority for this pool is consistent with recent annual spends, as it remains the same as the previous with the previous pool. It just gives us more options as we buy furniture throughout the district. If this agreement is not approved, the board will not have sufficient vendors to provide all the necessary furniture and services for classrooms, cafeteria, preschools, libraries, and offices, et cetera. And with that, that is the presentation for the addition of the five contractors to the existing piggyback agreement.
Thank you so much.
Thank
And I just want to remind the board that we're gonna ask questions, through in writing and just make sure that we're going through our board staff so that we can keep track. We want to make sure everybody gets to see the responses and all the things. Just want to make sure I said that.
And I just want to add that, you guys maybe say, well, we are always coming to you with furniture contracts, right? But this is adding. We're always looking for new and innovative furniture and more options for us in the design phase, as well as for, the teachers in the classrooms. So we are constantly trying to find vendors who are part of a piggyback agreement or a consortium that we can join.
Thank you so much.
Item number 13, authorize the second final renewal agreement with Sutton Ford, Inc.
Again, we are recommending for the October board meeting that the board approve the second and final renewal piggyback agreement with Sutton Ford to provide various vehicles, including maintenance and service. This vendor provides various vehicles, maintenance and service to the Department of Capital Planning, Construction, facilities, and other departments throughout the district, including transportation and driver's ed. Specifically, they provide new vehicles and related parts, including delivery, as well as routine service and maintenance and repairs. The outcomes from having this vendor is that it allows us to have an improved reliability with our current fleet. We have increased driver ratio of 1-to-1. We are able to maintain the useful life of our current fleet, including those at our regional driver's ed facilities, by being able to maintain them properly. It reduces the lead time for vehicle delivery as well as vehicle repair. And also, as we wait for the multifunction school activity buses to become available, it is possible, pending availability, to purchase 10 passenger vehicles from this vendor. Also, the warehouse has 22 box trucks with an average age of 15 years. And although we cannot buy box trucks from this vendor, they are able to service our box trucks. So the board authority that we're asking for this contract is to not exceed $2 million for the 2-year term, beginning January 1st of 2026 through December 31st of 2027. And note that the actual spend for this contract will be based on each user group's budget during this term. During this term. So again, it's dependent upon the amount of funds that each user group has for vehicle repairs as well as new vehicle purchase, if there's any. The vendor here was selected via competitive solicitation pursuant to Board Rule 7-4B, pursuant to the remedial program for minority women-owned business enterprise participation. This vendor is a minority vendor in good standing and is in full compliance, and it is the prime vendor for this contract. And so we have 100% MB spend with this particular vendor. Past performance with this vendor has been satisfactory, and the requested board authority for this vendor is consistent with recent board authority spend and is necessary to support the maintenance of our vehicles. If this agreement is not approved due to us having an aging vehicle portfolio, we will have less options when it comes to maintenance and servicing of our current fleet of vehicles. So we ask that the board approve the renewal of this piggyback agreement at the October board meeting.
Okay, thank you for that. Looks like there's no question.
Thank you.
Board members, the following slide lists the portfolio management charter contract items, numbers 14 and 15, that were placeholders for items discussed during the charter contract school presentation done earlier. We will now continue with the following board item, number 16, resolution on the protection of school-based custodial workers.
I can take this one, Madam Vice President.
What is that?
This is a resolution that I submitted to.
Oh, yes, go ahead,
and
please.
To ensure protection of the custodial workers that were being in-housed from private contractors to CPS employees. It originally had a little more detail. It was reviewed by law. We had to remove a lot of that information, but what we did make sure to add was ways for the board to get access to cleanliness information as we implement the in-housing. So this is the resolution as it stands today. There might be some amendments before the board meeting at the end of the month. And I will make sure to update everybody if that happens.
Thank you, Board Member Bannon. Okay. The following slides list the standard monthly reports and motions that are listed in the Agenda Review Committee meeting agenda and posted online. Okay. Board members, this concludes the board reports on the public agenda. Are there any comments or questions on any other items? Seeing none, thank you very much. We will now move into our second executive session. Board Member Brown, do you have motion? Oh, Board Member, who wants to take this one? Bannon, do you have motion M03? Page 9.
Go for it.
Go ahead.
I move for the passage of motion number 25-1008-M03 and the commencement of a closed session to consider matters permitted under Section 2C of the Open Meetings Act, subsections 1 and 11 as specified in the motion.
I
Is
second.
there a second?
I second.
I second.
I'm sorry, was that Board Member Pope that originally
Yes.
seconded? Okay. I'll proceed with a roll call. Member Lozano,
Yes.
Member Smith,
Aye.
Member Lopez,
Aye.
Member Velez,
Yes.
Member Boyle,
Yes.
Member Wallace,
Aye.
Member Custer,
Aye.
Member Pope,
Yes.
Member Rosenfeld,
Yes.
Member Rivas,
Yes.
Member Brown,
Yes, ma'am.
Member Rio Sierra,
Aye.
Member Bannon,
Aye.
Member Gutierrez,
Aye.
Member Biggs,
Yes.
Member Thodakura,
Yes.
Member Blaze,
Aye.
Member Zakor,
Yes.
Member DeBerry.
Aye.
I do want to note for the record that because President Harden has left the meeting and Vice President Bautista is serving as the chair, she will not be casting a vote. 19 ayes, 0 nays. This motion is adopted by the board.
This meeting will not go into closed session. Of the Board of Education is reconvened. Board Secretary, please proceed.
Vice President Bautista, I would like to note for the record that there are no items to vote on from executive session.
Thank you. Is there a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
We are adjourned. Thanks, everyone.